Chapter 94. Write a letter to the gigolo. Everyone in the Yun family liked Yun Chujo 100 times now. They had long forgotten Yun Chuji's previous dark history and praised Yun Chujo like a flower. Yun Chuyi had voluntarily stayed behind. Firstly, his talent was limited. Secondly, he was a little old. Thirdly, the family could not afford to not have young people to take care of things. Yun Chuer would not go either. How great would it be in Qi City? There would be food and drinks. Who would go to the Linghua sect? Moreover, even if he went, he would not be chosen. It would be a waste of his suffering. Because Yun Chushi was too young, he could not go together. He pouted and even secretly cried a few times. It was only until Yun Chujo promised several unequal treaties that he broke into a smile. Finally, the candidates were decided. Yun Chushan was 17 years old, Yun Chuzi was 17 years old, Yun Chu was 16 years old, Yun Chu was 16 years old, Yun Chulu was 16 years old, Yun Chuki was 15 years old, Yun Chuba was 15 years old, and Yun Chuki was 15 years old, second level of spirit enhancement. Yun Chujo counted with her fingers. Including herself, there were 7 people. Was this the rhythm of gathering 7 dragon balls and summoning the divine dragon? Yun Chujo put her hands behind her back and said seriously, although you are brothers and sisters, I have the final say in everything when we go out this time. If you are not convinced, then don't go. Also, among the 7 of us, I am the youngest and the most useless. So you have to take care of me and protect me on the way. Don't complain, be my slave. The members of the Yun family. Could they take back what they had said about this guy? This guy was just a glutton who liked to eat and be lazy. He had to be a good-for-nothing. After the discussion was settled, Yun Xiaotian announced the end of the meeting. He asked the few of them to go home and prepare their luggage, and he left Yun Chujo alone. Little Jiu, keep these silver ingots and gold bars. You must be careful on the way. Yun Xiaotian handed Yun Chujo a heavy package. Since the Linghua sect was not in Donghua Nation's territory, the silver notes could not be used, she could only bring more gold and silver on the road. Yun Chujo did not decline. She took the package and chatted with Yun Xiaotian for a while before returning to her courtyard. Housekeeper Ji had already arranged for someone to repair the big hole in the roof. Chen Yu had long woken up and was cleaning the house. Chen Yu, bring me the silver note box. Chen Yu did not understand what he meant. She quickly entered the house and handed the silver note box to Yun Chujo. Chen Yu, I'm going to the Ling. If you're willing to stay in the Yun family, then stay in the Yun family. If you're not willing, then take some silver notes to redeem yourself. Yun Chujo took out 10,000 taels of silver notes and handed them to Chen Yu. She put the rest into her pocket. Chen Yu was shocked. At first, she was reluctant to part with them, but then she was moved to tears. Miss, I only sold myself for 50 taels of silver. You gave me too much. Besides, I don't have any relatives anymore. I'll stay in the Yun family and guard this courtyard, waiting for you to come back. Yun Chujo was amused. Silly girl, your family's miss, I will definitely enter the Linghua sect this time. When that time comes, I might only be able to come back once every few years. Besides, are you not going to marry? Chen Yu blushed. Miss, I'm not leaving the Yun family anyway. All right. You can find a good guy in our Yun family to marry. This money can be used as your dowry. Yun Chujo might be greedy, but she was quite generous to her own people. Chen Ye's face naturally turned red from embarrassment. She gave an excuse to pack Yun Chuji's luggage and ran away. Yun Chujo pouted. Aya, this Chen Yu is really thin-skinned. If I wasn't thick-skinned enough, I would have been slapped to death by the gigolo. By the way, after I leave, I don't know if the gigolo will be angry. I'd better leave a letter for him. Chapter 95. The first letter Xiao Jiu wrote to the Supreme Emperor Yun Chujo sighed. If it weren't for the fact that she was afraid that the gigolo would vent his anger on the Yun family, she wouldn't have written him such a troublesome letter. She wished that she could sneak away. It seemed like she had to find an opportunity to make the gigolo promise that he wouldn't touch the Yun family. Yun Chujo took out her brush and wrote a letter to Di Biming in one go. Dear Prince Charming, your words are like a book. Although my longing for you is like a torrential river that never stops, in order to improve myself and be more compatible with you, I have decided to go to the Linghua sect to further my studies. I know that you will definitely be angry. After all, with such an outstanding and powerful master like you, why would I need to go to the Linghua sect? However, I did this for a reason. Firstly, you were busy with your affairs and couldn't give me pointers for a very long time. You also said that it was very easy for the Thunder Spirit root to go berserk. Therefore, for the sake of my little life, I could only go to the Linghua sect to try my luck. Secondly, it was said that not only did the Linghua sect teach techniques, but they also taught courses such as talisman making, pill refining, array formation, and weapon refining. In order to love you better in the future, I decided to become multi-talented. Only then could I defeat those coquettish bitches by your side, repel the vixens who seduced you. Thirdly, the world is so big. I want to go out and take a look. Dear Prince Charming, the messages are long and affectionate. My deep love for you is not described here. If you miss me, you can go to the Linghua sect to see me. Little Jiu, who loves you to the bone, years, months, days. After Yun Chujo finished writing, she admired it a few times in satisfaction. TSK, my literary talent is simply too great. And this word, it's simply too cool and elegant. The gigolo will definitely be shocked when he sees it. Yun Chujo sealed the letter in the envelope, and then wrote on it, personally opened by the Prince Charming. She placed the envelope on the table and pressed it with a ruler. Chunyu, in half a month's time, my master might come looking for me. Give this letter to my master. My master has a bad temper, so you must remember to give this letter to him. Otherwise, he will tear down our Yun family. Chunyu nodded repeatedly. Seeing the words on it, she asked suspiciously, Miss, why did you write the words personal revelation of a male god? Shouldn't you write the words personal revelation of a benefactor? Yun Chujo coughed dryly, my master is a male, right? So there's no problem with the word male. My master is quite powerful, so it's not a problem to call him a god, Rai. Together, they are a male god. Chunyu nodded blankly. Although what Miss said was right, why did she feel that something was not right? After saying that, Yun Chujo slipped back into the bedroom and looked at the dead Xiao Hanyo with worry. Xiao Hanyo had been in hibernation all this time, so she definitely had to bring it along. The problem was how to bring it along. Put it in a package. Don't suffocate it to death again. In the end, Yun Chujo asked Chunyu to make a cloth bag that could be carried diagonally. There were a few air holes on it, and the inside was covered with soft cotton. Then, she placed Xiao Hanyo inside. The next morning, when everyone gathered, Yun Chujia's strange style once again refreshed everyone's understanding. Yun Chujo was carrying a huge bag behind her, and in front of her was a colorful small bag with two large copper basins in her hands. The corner of Yun Xiaoshan's eyes twitched. Xiaojiu, what's in your bag? And why are you carrying two copper basins? Grandfather, we're going out, so we naturally have to be more prepared. I have all sorts of treasures in here, such as salt, pepper noodles, sugar, and so on. These two copper basins are naturally for cooking. Actually, Yun Chujo was killing two birds with one stone by bringing these two copper basins. They could be used to cook food in the wild, and they could also absorb lightning. Yun Xiaotian gagged and wanted to say something, but swallowed it back. Little Jiu, are you going to take the entrance test, or are you going to go sightseeing? Forget it. If he couldn't pass the test, he would be more at ease with little Jiu by his side. Chapter 96 The Little Wild Horse That Got Loose. Under the instructions of the Yun family members, Yun Chuzhou and the others mounted their horses and set off valiantly and proudly. And Feng, who was in the corner, was about to go crazy from anxiety as he watched everyone's back view. Why did this ninth miss suddenly have a stroke and want to go to the Linghua sect? There was no warning at all. But this damn voice transmission talisman actually broke. It really killed him. Why did everything go wrong when he met this black girl? If, after half a month, the Honorable Sir came and found that the ninth miss was gone, oh God, the consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? And Feng struggled for a while and hurriedly left a message under the roof tile. He also left a secret mark before secretly following Yun Chuzhou and the others. After all, his mission was to protect Miss Zhou. As for His Majesty, he could only hope that this ancestor would not destroy Yi City in a fit of anger. Yun Chuzhou did not know about An Feng's worries. This fellow was so happy now. First, he bought a large pile of pastries at the pastry shop, then he bought a large pile of cooked food at the delicatessen shop, and finally, he went to the grocery store to get a large bag of candied fruits. Yun Chushan couldn't help but twitch her lips. She wanted to say something sarcastic, but unfortunately, Yun Chu and Yun Chuki ignored her now. She could only curse in her heart. Foodie. Good for nothing. Useless. Yun Chuzhou bought good food and went to the pharmacy to buy some medicinal herbs for daily use. Then, she waved her hand and said, "Go out of the city." Once out of the city, Yun Chuzhou was like a wild horse that had gone out of control. She didn't know how to show off. Picking wild flowers by the roadside. Picking wild fruits by the roadside. Looking at the handsome men by the roadside. Unfortunately, when the passers-by saw Yun Chujia's dark face and the gorgeous small bag, they all looked like they had seen a yiksha. None of them went up to her. Yun Chuzhou grumbled unhappily, Xiao Hei, just because of you, master, I have missed so many beauties. When you wake up, I will definitely teach you a lesson. Forget it, these people with no taste really have no taste. They're not even as good-looking as a gigolo. Who cares? Yun Chu, who was beside her, frowned. Xiaojiu, what are you mumbling about? Why do I hear something about beauties and gigolo? Are you going to go back to your old habits? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Fifth sister, did you hear wrongly? I'm talking about Mei Jing and the little white rabbit. I'm a little hungry and I'm thinking of killing a few wild rabbits to satisfy my hunger. Yun Chu looked at her suspiciously and warned, Little Zhou, although we will listen to you this time, if you do anything out of line, as your sister, I will not forgive you. Yun Chuzhou shrunk her neck. Fifth sister, don't worry. I promise to be obedient. Although Yun Chuzhou said it well, everything looked fresh and fresh. She would not be able to travel much in a day. Moreover, she had quite a lot of banknotes with her. She would definitely be able to stay in a high-class room in a big inn, and every meal would definitely be a sumptuous feast. It was also the first time Yun Chu and the others went on a long journey. Moreover, they were all young, the age that they loved to play, so they let Yun Chuzhou do whatever she wanted. The Linghua sect was not particularly far from Yi City. If they rode on a flying spirit tool, it would only take one day, but Yun Chuzhou and the others would need at least half a month to arrive by horse. After leaving the Donghua nation's borders, Yun Chujia's spending was obviously much more restrained. This was because silver notes were not commonly used in other countries, and could only be spent in gold and silver. The closer the town was to the Linghua sect, the more different it seemed from Yi City. In these places, the spiritual qi was obviously thicker than in Yi City. The people's cultivation levels were also not bad. The Yun siblings were already outstanding in Yi City. In this place, they became quite ordinary. Yun Chuzhou and the others were now facing a very serious problem. They were going to go hungry. Chapter 97. As they got closer to the spirit flower sect, the value of gold and silver began to depreciate greatly. People began to use spirit pearls and spirit stones to trade. One spirit pearl could be exchanged for 10 taels of gold, and one spirit pearl could only buy 2 meat buns. Even though everyone's food had been reduced from delicacies to steamed buns and boiled water, the gold and silver in their bags were still decreasing rapidly. Yun Chujo and the others had also thought of buying some demon beasts to exchange for money or to eat them. However, this place was almost 2 days away from the nearest demon beast forest, and traveling back and forth was really too time-consuming. In the end, it was still Yun Chujia's idea to sell 2 of their horses and exchange them for 3,000 spirit pearls. Finally, the problem of eating was temporarily solved. Yun Chujo estimated the distance. She could still reach the Linghua sect by living frugally, but the quality of life was obviously declining. Needless to say, the food was simple, and the accommodation was often only 2 rooms. Everyone squeezed in. On this day, Yun Chujo and the others finally arrived at the Linghua city at the foot of the Linghua faction mountain. The Linghua city was filled with people. Other than the people who came to participate in the test, there were also many relatives and friends who accompanied the test. All the inns and restaurants in Linghua City were full, and the prices were shockingly high. Yun Chujo and the others found a simple and crude inn with great difficulty. They rented 2 rooms and temporarily settled down. Although they were short of money, everyone was still very excited. The things they saw along the way would probably never have been dreamed of in Yi City. Coming out this time had really broadened their horizons. The next day, Yun Chujo suggested that everyone go to the place where the Linghua sect registered. First, they wanted to see the registration process, and second, they wanted to find out the truth. The place where the Linghua sect had registered was at the foot of the Linghua sect's mountain, and it was very close to Linghua City. Yun Chujo and the others did not ride horses, and they strolled to the place where they had registered. Along the way, the Yun family members received several disdainful gazes. "TSK, look at those people. They look like country bumpkins who haven't seen the world." "That's right. They're actually wearing ordinary clothes, and they don't even have a spirit tool. They're really poor. They're not young anymore. Look at their cultivation. How dare they come here? Even if they could register, they wouldn't be able to get in. Forget it. Forget about taking the entrance exam. Their cultivation doesn't even meet the registration criteria. That black girl doesn't even have any spirit. If I were them, they wouldn't even have the face to come here. And that black girl. It's one thing if she's a piece of trash, but she's actually carrying a weird bag. Could it be that there's a steamed bun in it? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, with their poverty, they definitely can't afford a storage bag. Naturally, they have to carry a bag. My servants are even richer than them." Yun Chu and the others heard the crowd's discussion and looked at the others' attire and cultivation. They couldn't help but feel inferior, and they couldn't even walk naturally. Yun Chujo frowned, and her small face became stern. She glanced at the Yun family members unhappily. "Brothers and sisters, this cultivation itself is against the heaven. It is meant to constantly surpass oneself and overcome all kinds of difficulties. Why, have a few words of gossip affected your minds? We cannot decide our own origins, but we can work harder and better than others. Although the people of our Yun family aren't rich, we must have faith. All of you, stand up straight and hold your heads high." Yun Chua's words seemed to have hit Yun Chu and the others in the head. Everyone looked ashamed. "We're not even as good as Little Jiu. Little Jiu can stand up straight even without spiritual power, so why can't we?" Yun Chu and the others immediately changed from their previous timidity to calm and confident. The siblings of the Yun family were already very outstanding in appearance, but now that their imposing manner was put together, they actually didn't look any worse than the others. They even had an extra bit of pride. Yun Chujo secretly gave herself 32 likes. "I gave myself 99 points, one more point to be afraid of my own pride. Chapter 98 Io, you can do this? When those gossipers saw this, they embarrassedly said a few sarcastic words and did not say anything more. Yun Chujio relied on her small stature and continuously squeezed forward. Finally, she squeezed to the front and saw a few people wearing the Linghua sect's clothing sitting behind a long table. There were two types of people who registered. One was to directly take out the registration token, the other was to conduct a test on the spot. However, the requirements for the test were very harsh. Yun Chujio glanced at it. 17 and 16 years old required a spirit enhancement of the 6th level, 15 and 14 years old required a spirit enhancement of the 5th level. Yun Chujio frowned. Not a single member of the Yun family had met the requirements. If they followed the procedure, they definitely wouldn't have a chance. She could use the token given by Elder Sun to sign up herself, but what about Yun Chu and the others? She couldn't have come all the way here for nothing, right? Yun Chujio exited the crowd and told them what she had seen. Although Yun Chu and the others were mentally prepared, they couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Yun Chu Shan glared at Yun Chujio hatefully. She thought to herself that she was really taking advantage of the situation. She should have given her token to Yun Chujio. Although the Yun family members couldn't hide their disappointment, since they were already here, they should just watch the show. After all, such an opportunity was very rare. Yun Chujio's little head was spinning rapidly. How could she get Yun Chu and the others to sign up as well? To look for Elder Sun? It was obviously impossible. Not just anyone could enter the Linghua sect. Moreover, Elder Sun's status was extremely high. Even if she could use some small means to meet Elder Sun, it would still take a long time. By then, it would be too late. Why not beat up the person who signed up and force him to sign up? Cough cough, let's not talk about whether he could beat them up or not. Smashing the Spirit Flower sect's territory was courting death. Bribe them? Not to mention, she was so poor that she was selling horses. How could she have any spirit pearls or spirit stones to bribe them? Just as Yun Chujio was frowning in confusion, there was a small commotion in front of her. You only have one registration token in your hand, so you can only sign up alone. As for you, I'm sorry, you don't qualify to sign up. Please go back. Senior brother, Elder Shao only has one registration token left. We're siblings, so please make an exception. Yun Chujio was stunned. This voice? Wasn't this the voice of the white trash? Yun Chujio squeezed to the front and took a look. It really was Bai Moyu and Bai Moru. The disciple in charge of the registration looked at Bai Moyu and Bai Moru. Elder Shao. Which Elder Shao? Shao Pancher from the West Peak, Elder Shao. Bai Moyu and Bai Moru had already met Elder Shao a few days ago. Elder Shao had originally given them 2 registration tokens, but coincidentally, when Bai Moru was shopping, he actually let someone take them away. The Bai siblings were afraid that Elder Shao would blame them, so they didn't dare to ask for another token. They were prepared to fool around first. If they went over, they didn't need to look for Elder Shao anymore. When the disciple in charge of registration saw that there was indeed the word Shao on the back of the registration token, he was a little hesitant. This disciple happened to be a disciple of West Peak. Elder Shao was the hall master of West Peak's law enforcement hall, and he was a famous black-faced fiend. It was better not to provoke him. After all, he was only qualified to register, and even if he registered, he might not be able to pass the test. He might as well do him a favor. All right. Go over there and get the test jade token. The disciple waved his hand, indicating that Bai Moyu and Bai Moru had passed. When Yun Chujio saw this, her eyes immediately lit up. Io, you can do this. Yun Chujio hopped in front of the disciple and handed over the registration token that Elder Sun had given her. Chapter 99, Fengming the disciple took the token and sized up Yun Chujio. He frowned. This black girl obviously didn't have any spiritual power. How could she have a registration token? Forget it. It's better to be less troublesome. Anyway, with the token, it's not my fault. Go there and get the test jade token. The disciple said impatiently. Okay. Brothers and sisters, let's go and get the test jade token. Yun Chujio waved her little claws, signaling Yun Chu and the others to come over. Yun Chu and the others were a little confused, but they still walked over. The disciple was anxious. Hey, I said I'll let you get the test jade token alone. Do they have a jade token? If not, come and test it. Yun Chujio widened her eyes. Senior brother, my situation is the same as the brother and sister from before. Why can they do it, but we can't? That disciple choked and said angrily out of embarrassment, their token was given by Elder Xiao. Elder Xiao is the most fair, so he naturally won't cheat. I don't like what you're saying. You're obviously looking at others to make a dish. The token given by Elder Xiao is fine, but why can't the token given by our Middle Peak's son Bo Zhong and Elder Sun be fine? Yun Chujio shouted at the top of her voice. Yun Chujio had a stomach full of evil thoughts. This fellow had the idea of taking advantage of the situation. Previously in the Demon Beast Forest, it was obvious that the 5 peaks of the Linghua sect were secretly competing with each other. Today, I've grasped this point. I don't believe that there wouldn't be someone from the Middle Peak standing up for me. The disciple in charge of the registration was angered by Yun Chujia's retort. His face was red and his neck was thick. You're spouting nonsense. No, in short, it's no good. Yun Chu and the others were already scared silly. This little Jio's guts were simply too big. She actually dared to challenge the disciples of the Linghua sect. Yun Chu tugged at Yun Chujio, meaning that it was fine if she couldn't register her name. She didn't expect Yun Chujio to be even more agitated. She stomped her feet and started to scold. If you say it's no good, then it's no good. Who do you think you are? At worst, I'll go and ask Elder Sunday. Why is his token not as useful as that Elder Xiao? Could it be that our middle peak is half a level lower than the west peak? That disciple almost fainted from anger. Originally, it was a good job to be in charge of registration. How could he have met such a little girl who was pestering him? A small matter actually went to the point of being between the 2 peaks. If this were to happen, he would not be able to do anything. Just as the situation was in a stalemate, a clear voice came from the sky, Chi Hua, I didn't expect your west peak. Everyone looked up and saw a man dressed in the Linghua sect's inner sect disciple uniform riding a sword over. The man was tall and straight, slender like a bamboo. His long ink-colored hair fluttered slightly in the wind. He was handsome, and his pair of amorous peach blossom eyes were slightly raised at this moment. There was a sneer on his face. Yun Chujia's focus was on the sword tassel. What the hell was that tender pink sword tassel? It seemed that this person was definitely a flirtatious guy. The disciple who was in charge of registering felt his heart tighten. Feng Ming. Oh no, why did this evil ancestor come? Senior brother Feng Ming, don't listen to this little girl's nonsense. There's some misunderstanding here. The disciple hurriedly went forward to explain. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. When this flirtatious guy said, your west peak, just now, it was obvious that he didn't like the west peak. Perhaps he was from the middle peak. I had to work harder. This must be senior brother Feng Ming, right? I've long heard that senior brother Feng Ming from the Linghua sect is not only extremely handsome, but he's also magnanimous and the most upright. After seeing him today, it's as I expected. Feng Ming jumped down from the flying sword. After hearing Yun Chujia's words, he was very satisfied. You little girl, you really know how to talk. Even though what you said is the truth, there's no need for you to be so direct. Chapter 100 Only allowed one person. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth, with a smile, she said, "Senior brother Feng Ming, you came at the right time. Please come and judge. Clearly, the person in front of you can just take Elder Xiao's token of West Peak, but I can't take Elder Sun's token of Middle Peak. It's really too much of a bully." When Feng Ming heard this, his expression turned cold. "Qi Hua, what do you mean? It's good to take Elder Xiao's token of West Peak. Why can't this little girl take Elder Sun's token of West Peak?" When Yun Chuzhou heard this, she instantly had an idea. It seemed that this flirtatious man should be from the Middle Peak. Qi Hua secretly complained. How could he be so unlucky? Not only did he meet a little girl who was pestering him, but he also met this Feng Ming. How was he going to end this? When Feng Ming saw that Qi Hua did not speak, he was even more certain that what Yun Chuzhou said was true. "Qi Hua, can you give me a straightforward answer? Otherwise, I'll bring this little girl to invite Elder Sun over." "Senior brother Feng Ming, since you have spoken, then I will give you face. Little girl, you can bring one person over. You can choose one." Qi Hua gritted his teeth in anger. Elder Sun Bo Zhong was famous for being unstingy. Even if he was unreasonable, he could still stir up some trouble. If he was really invited over, he would definitely not be able to do well. "One." Yun Chuzhou shook her head. "I can't do one. These are all my brothers and sisters. I can't miss any of them. Little girl, don't push your luck. I'm already giving senior brother Feng Ming face by asking you to bring one. If you don't agree, then don't bring any of them." Qi Hua sneered. This little girl really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. She actually wanted to use a token to bring 6 people? No way. Yun Chuzhou looked at Feng Ming. Feng Ming shrugged and obviously didn't intend to interfere. It was already good enough to bring one person, but 6 people really didn't make sense. Yun Chu and the others all thought that this was the best outcome. After all, it was already good enough to bring one more person along. As for who to bring along, it was up to little Jiu to decide. Yun Chushan secretly gritted her teeth. Yun Chuzhou would definitely bring Yun Chuzi or Yun Chu along, so she definitely would not be part of it. This senior brother is right. It is indeed enough to bring one person along with a token. But back then, besides Elder Sun, the Peak Master of Middle Peak also had 3 other elders of Middle Peak. They might have promised to register me with a token, but they did not bring it along with them back then. That was why Elder Sun acted as a representative and gave me a token. Yun Chuzhou said nonsense with a serious face. The Peak Master of Middle Peak. You are just a little girl without spirit energy. How can you get the Peak Master of Middle Peak to sign up for you? Qi Hua's face was full of disdain. It was obvious that he did not believe him. TCH. Do you think those mighty figures are as blind as you? More than 20 days ago, in the Demon Beast Forest of Donghua Country, the Peak Master, Elder Sun, and the others saw that I was smart, kind, and cute. Not only did they save me, but they also wanted to bring me directly back to the Spirit Flower sect. However, the Peak Master said that the Spirit Flower sect had rules and had to participate in the test. Otherwise, I would have taken Elder Sun as my master long ago. Why would I need to look down on you? If you don't believe me, you can ask Elder Sun. Yun Chujia's small face was full of arrogance. This? Qi Hua was somewhat skeptical. More than 20 days ago, all the mighty figures in the sect had indeed rushed to Donghua Nation. It was said that the 9-colored immortal sparrow had appeared. Could it be that what this little girl said was true? Oh right, if you don't believe me, ask that person called by Moyu just now. At that time, I was inside Elder Sun's flying spirit tool and even greeted him. Yun Chuzhou pointed at Bai Moyu, who was not far away. Chapter 101 was done. Qi Hua looked at Bai Moyu. Bai Moyu, is what this little girl said true? Bai Moyu wanted to deny it, but if the matter was exposed in the future, Elder Shao might think that there was something wrong with my quality, so he could only say gloomily, that day, Yun Chuzhou did ride on the flying spirit tool of the Linghua sect, and Elder Sun said that she was her master. As soon as Bai Moyu finished speaking, everyone instantly exploded. What? Elder Sun of the Middle Peak actually took this black girl as his disciple? How was this possible? This black girl didn't have any spirit energy at all. Was Elder Sun blind? Qi Hua was instantly like a deflated rubber ball. If Elder Sun really took this black girl as his disciple, then this black girl would definitely be an inner sect disciple in the future, and he couldn't afford to offend her. Although Feng Ming was still skeptical, he saw that Yun Chuzhou was sweet-tongued and would cause trouble. Secondly, he didn't like the way the West Peak acted, so he just looked on with an inexplicable cold expression and didn't say anything. Senior brother, if you still don't believe me, you might as well take me to ask Elder Sunday. He has always been kind and amiable, he will definitely be very patient to answer your questions. Yun Chuzhou emphasized on, kind and amiable, and patient. Qi Hua shook his head like a rattle drum. Elder Sun was famous for being a thorn in the side. He even dared to contradict the sect leader, so he would only ask if he was stupid. Alright. Alright. You guys go and get the test tokens. If I find out that you are lying in the future, HMPH. Qi Hua said a few polite words and forced himself to smooth things over. Yun Chuzhou did not argue with him. She quickly brought Yun Chu and the others to get the test tokens, so as not to cause any more trouble. At this moment, Yun Chu and the others were dumbfounded. How could this be possible? The Linghua sect's test qualification was the dream of countless people. How many families had spent a huge amount of money just to barely obtain one spot, and little Jiu actually managed to get them 6 spots with just one mouth. That was 6 spots. Wasn't this too awesome? After this incident, in the hearts of the Yun family, Yun Chuzhou instantly transformed from a pitiful little sheep into a cunning little fox. Bai Moyu and his sister were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Yun Chuzhou actually used us as a raft to let Yun Chu and the others obtain the qualifications to take the test. How detestable. Brother, how are you going to speak up for that slut? Bai Moru hated Yun Chuzhou to death. This slut was so ugly and shamelessly hooked up with other people. Could it be that senior brother Feng Ming's eyes weren't good? He actually didn't even look at her. Bai Moyu fro. Besides, that trash Yun Chuzhou definitely won't be able to pass the entrance test. When the time comes, we'll find an opportunity to deal with her. Bai Moru stomped her feet unwillingly, not saying a word. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou was eagerly trying to get close to Feng Ming. Senior brother Feng Ming, thank you for speaking up for justice. Your reputation is out there, I've admired you for a long time. Today, I've seen that it's exactly as the rumors say, even more outstanding than the rumors say. Feng Ming subconsciously straightened his back. No need to be so polite. It's just a small matter. Senior brother Feng Ming is really like his name. Feng Ming is from the 9 heavens and is extraordinarily handsome. Little Jiu will remember the great favor you've done for me. I will definitely repay you heavily in the future. Yun Chuzhou's face was full of sincerity. It was clearly flattery, but when she said it, it made people feel extremely sincere. Feng Ming originally did not like the disciples of the West Peak and helped Yun Chuzhou along the way. Now that he was flattered by Yun Chuzhou's flattery, he suddenly felt that he was the embodiment of justice and a kind messenger. Little girl, come with me. I have something to tell you. Chapter 102, Wait and see. Yun Chuzhou's heart skipped a beat when she heard Feng Ming's words. She eagerly followed Feng Ming to a more hidden place. Little girl, I see that you don't have any spiritual power. I'm afraid it will be very difficult for you to pass the test. However, the test this time is different from the previous ones. The first 3 rounds require a team to participate in the test. You must seize the opportunity. Feng Ming saw that Yun Chuzhou did not have any spiritual power. He could not help but feel sympathetic. Yun Chujia's heart moved, and she quickly thanked him. Thank you, senior brother Feng Ming. I will definitely make good preparations when I go back. Feng Ming could not help but look at Yun Chuzhou in a new light. He thought that Yun Chuzhou would definitely ask him about the content of the test, but he did not expect the little girl to know her limits, so the smile on her face became even more genuine. You're welcome. I hope you can pass the test. Yun Chuzhou thanked him again. Only then did she find the extremely excited Yun Chu and the others and return to the inn. Little Zhou, why did that senior brother Feng Ming look for you just now? As soon as she entered the room, Yun Chushan could not wait to ask Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou did not hide anything. He told me that the first 3 rounds of the test were team tests. The results were ranked according to the team's results. Yun Chushan immediately cried out, What? Then wouldn't we have a burden like you? Yun Chuki snorted coldly. Third sister, if it weren't for little Zhou, you wouldn't even have the qualifications to participate in the test. What an ingrate. Yun Chuzi and the others also gave Yun Chuzi a reproachful look. Yun Chushan quickly said, I was in a rush. I didn't mean anything else. Although Yun Chushan said so, she had already calculated in her heart. If she were to team up with the Yun family, she would definitely not get a good result, not to mention that Yun Chuzhou, this trash, would be a burden. It was not easy for her to get the test qualification. Was she going to give it up just like that? Absolutely not. After dinner, Yun Chushan found an excuse and sneaked out of the inn alone. Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Yun Chuzhou stood by the window and watched Yun Chushan sneakily leave the inn. Little Zhou, what did you say Yun Chushan went to do? Yun Chu asked suspiciously. Of course, she went to find a partner to form a team. She didn't want to be implicated by a good-for-nothing like me. Yun Chuzhou answered slowly. Humph. What an ingrate. I really misjudged her in the past. But there are no acquaintances in Linghua City. Who did she go to find? Yun Chuki was furious. Why are there no acquaintances? Have you forgotten about the white scum and the others? Bai Moyu? It can't be. The Bai family and... How could they agree to team up with Yun Chushan? They will agree because they have the same bad taste. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed with a trace of fierceness. Yun Chushan, I hope you won't disappoint me. If you don't seek your own death, I really have no way to get rid of you, the black sheep of the Yun family. Little Zhou, what should we do? Yun Chu didn't notice Little Zhou's expression. She looked at Yun Chushan, who was far away, and asked worriedly. Wait and see. Yun Chuzhou said slowly. Yun Chu and Yun Chuki were stunned. Little Zhou was indeed different from before. Ignoring everything else, just his calmness was much better than theirs. 2 hours later, Yun Chushan returned. Besides guilt, there was also an uncontrollable joy in her eyes. Yun Chuzhou and the other 2 pretended not to see it. They chatted for a while and then went to sleep. Since the 4 of them were in the same room, Yun Chu and Yun Chushan slept on the bed. Yun Chuzhou and Yun Chuki simply slept on the ground. In her sleep, Yun Chuzhou dreamed that a wolf had bitten her neck. She instinctively raised her leg and kicked the wolf. Black thing. How dare you kick me? Do you want to die? A cold voice said, and it was the kind that gnashed her teeth. Chapter 103 I Swear on My Beauty Gigolo. When Yun Chuzhou heard Di Baiming's voice, she was immediately startled awake. When Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes, she was a little dumbfounded. That's not right. She was clearly sleeping in the room of the inn. Where was this place? Yun Chuzhou did not have time to carefully observe her surroundings and quickly focused her attention on Di Baiming. Yun Chuzhou looked at Di Baiming, who was emitting a dense killing intent, and could not help but shrink her neck. The pretty boy was about to turn into a black face. Also, why did she feel that the pretty boy's posture was a little strange? Why was his leg clamped so tightly? He was actually bending over. Di Baiming was about to explode with anger. Black thing, are you getting bolder and bolder? Not only do you dare to run away privately, you actually dare to kick me? What's the point of me keeping you? Di Baiming's eyes were red. It was obvious that he was very angry. He reached out his hand and was about to slap Yun Chuzhou. Prince Charming. Prince Charming. Don't kill me with your palm. Even if I die, you have to make me understand, right? Why are you so angry? I didn't run away, I left a letter for you. Yun Chuzhou was so scared that her little heart was pounding, she really didn't know what was wrong with this pretty boy. Letter? What letter? I didn't see it. You lying black thing, I'll slap you to death. Di Baiming remembered that he excitedly went to find Yun Chuzhou, but was stood up. He was so angry that he almost fainted. Yun Chuzhou was about to cry, idle, I stayed up all night to write a letter to you. I even specially instructed my servant, Chen Yu, to give it to you, but she didn't give it to you. Di Baiming snorted, your servant. Every time I went to your place, didn't I knock her out first? How would she give it to me? Are you a pig's brain? Yun Chuzhou was about to cry because of her stupidity. Yes, every time the gigolo would smash the door and knock Chen Yu out. How would Chen Yu have the chance to give the letter she wrote to the gigolo? My Prince Charming, I swear on my beauty that I really wrote the letter. Yun Chuzhou said pitifully. Di Baiming's eyes twitched. Your beauty. Sorry, I didn't realize that you have any beauty to speak of. I only saw a black bean sprout. Yun Chuzhou silently recited 100 times that the impulse was a devil. Only then did she suppress the primal power in her body. Prince Charming, that's not right. Since you didn't see my letter, how did you know that I came to the Linghua faction? Di Baiming touched his nose. I naturally have a way to know what I want to know. Don't change the topic. Any letter you say is fake, right? Yun Chuzhi's life was in danger at this emo. If there's any ink, I will immediately write it down for you. I'll give you 15 minutes to write the letter down. When that time comes, I'll take this letter of yours and compare it with the one you left at the Yun family. If there's one word missing, I'll whip you. Di Baiming really couldn't think of any punishment, he just randomly said one word. Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart. Damn it. He even used a whip to whip her. This pretty boy didn't have any bad habits, right? He was indeed a pervert. Sooner or later, she was going to break away from his control. Poor Supreme Emperor, how could he have thought that just a casual whip would make dirty little Joe's mind fill up so much? Prince Charming, but I don't have any ink, paper, or inkstone, how do I write? An Go and find some ink, paper, and inkstone right away. Di Baiming snorted coldly and walked to the door and shouted outside. An miserably agreed. My lord, it's the middle of the night. Where can I find some ink, paper, and inkstone? Chapter 104 had a painful cry. No matter how Yun Chuzhou looked at it, she felt that Di Baiming's walking posture was a little strange. Then, she remembered the kick in her dream. Could it be that she had kicked the gigolo? Ha ha ha, that was hilarious. Yun Chuzhou almost laughed out loud. She quickly turned around and covered her mouth with her hand. However, her heart was bursting with joy. She deserved it. This was karma. Pretty boy, you have a day like this too. Why didn't I kick you to death? An returned to the house after Di Baiming gave his orders. He saw Yun Chuzhi's back facing him, and her small body was trembling non-stop. Di Baiming thought that Yun Chuzhou was crying, and he couldn't bear it. He coughed dryly, don't cry. I don't want your life. Yun Chujo, who was laughing secretly, was speechless. Yun Chujo tried hard to hold back her laughter and turned around with a bitter face. Di Baiming looked at her suspiciously. Why are there no tears on your face? Were you pretending to cry just now? How dare you lie to me? Yun Chujo hugged Di Baiming's waist. Prince Charming, don't you know that there is a kind of pain that makes you want to cry but have no tears? I am a sinner now. When I think about how my carelessness made you so angry, my heart is tormented by guilt, shame, and regret. I have let you down. I am a sinner. I am simply an extremely evil person, and the heavens will not tolerate it. I was wrong. I was extremely wrong. I am simply not a human. I am too much of a bastard. After being hugged by Yun Chujo, Di Baiming's belly full of anger instantly vanished into thin air. All the pores on his body seemed to have opened up, and he only felt an itch in his heart. He had to do something to express his feelings at this moment. Hence, Di Baiming decided to continue what he had been disturbed by Yun Chujo. He lowered his head and bit Yun Chujo's slender neck. Di Baiming initially only wanted to suck blood to detoxify the cold. However, after sucking 2 mouthfuls of blood, his taste slowly changed. Yun Chujo did not react at first. When she reacted and wanted to break free, she realized that she could not move at all. Damn it! Was the gigolo a vampire? Was he trying to suck her into a mummy? She had not lived long enough. She did not want to die. However, Yun Chujo realized that something was not right. What was the damn gigolo doing? Was he a dog? Was he looking for something to eat? Prince Charming, what are you doing? I was wrong. I promise there won't be a next time. You are a magnanimous man, please forgive me this time. Yun Chujo said with a trembling voice. Di Baiming ignored her. After a while, he finally released Yun Chujo. Prince Charming, why did you bite me? Yun Chujo felt that her face. Oh no, could it be that the gigolo had poisoned her? Di Baiming snorted coldly. Do you think I'm willing to do this because I have nothing better to do? Isn't it because you ate my exquisite scarlet sunset fruit? From now on, I'll drink your blood every month to detoxify the poison. You owe me this. After hearing that, not only was Yun Chujo not afraid, but she felt relieved. Since the gigolo wanted to rely on her blood to detoxify the poison, then he wouldn't kill her. With this understanding, Yun Chujo became bolder. She snorted coldly, if you want to drink blood, then do it quickly. Why are you taking so long? I'm happy. I think you're too ugly. I'll decorate it for you. If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself. Isn't it much more beautiful? Di Baiming took out a mirror from his storage ring and handed it to Yun Chujo. Chapter 105 The little flame of resistance was extinguished. Yun Chujo took the mirror suspiciously and saw that her neck was covered with red marks. Black thing, how is it? Is it much better looking than before? You don't have to thank me, Just as Di Baiming was mocking Yun Chujo proudly, Yun Chujo suddenly threw the mirror and bit his neck. Yun Chujo thought it was simple. Wasn't the gigolo going to bite her? Then she would bite him back. Anyway, he couldn't really kill her in order to detoxify the poison. Di Baiming felt his whole body stiffen. The soft touch on his neck turned into a numbness that spread throughout his body. This numbness even made him ignore the pain in his wound. He just let Yun Chujo bite him again and again. Yun Chujo bit her lips until they were numb, but she did not see any reaction from Di Baiming. She could not help but shut her mouth, thinking to herself, doesn't this pretty boy know how to feel pain? What a pervert. Yun Chujo saw that Di Baiming's neck was covered with tiny teeth marks, and only then did she feel much better. After a long while, Di Baiming came back to his senses and roared fiercely, Black thing, you actually dared to bite me. Do you want to die? Yun Chujo hugged her shoulders and shook her calves. If you don't want to detoxify the cold poison, then just kill me. Anyway, I'll exchange my life for yours, what am I afraid of? Di Biming didn't react at first, then his eyes deepened and he said coldly, Black Thing, you seem to have made a mistake. My poison doesn't have to be your blood. If you really want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish. Di Biming approached Yun Chuzhou step by step, and his body emitted waves of cold air. Yun Chuzhou was terrified. She immediately changed from a cocky little peacock to a fawning little quail. Prince Charming, it's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just joking, wasn't it funny? Ha ha ha, it's really funny. Di Biming did not reply. He just raised his hand, and a murderous aura enveloped Yun Chujia's small body. It's actually not that funny. That Prince Charming, I didn't mean to bite you. Didn't you say that this red dot is very nice to decorate? I just wanted to decorate it for you. Anine, you're back. Quick, come in. I was just about to write a love letter to my Prince Charming. Yun Chuzhou actually did not see Anine. However, Anine happened to borrow a set of ink, paper, and inkstone from the inn's room. When she heard Yun Chujia's shout, she asked outside, Your Excellency. I've brought the ink, paper, and inkstone. Di Biming saw that the little flame that had just appeared in Yun Chujia's body had been extinguished by him, so he took the opportunity to say, Send it in. Anine pushed the door open and respectfully placed the brush, ink, paper, and inkstone on the table. Di Biming waved his hand, indicating that he could leave now. Anine inadvertently caught a glimpse of Di Biming's neck. Then, she staggered and ran out with her hands and feet in a daze. Anfeng was hidden in the dark and waved at Anine. His face was full of excitement. What happened? Your 10,000-year-old ice-cold face is broken. I saw it just now. There are red marks all over your neck. It's obvious that it was bitten by a human. Anine's face was a little unnatural. He was not a gossipy person, but what he saw just now had a huge impact on him. If he did not share it with someone, he would really go crazy from holding it in. Anfeng almost jumped up in shock. Your Majesty was done by the black girl again. The black girl is really fierce. Chapter 106, Prince Charming, I will listen to you. Yun Chuzhou did not know that she had become a pervert in Anfeng and Anine's place. At this moment, this guy was writing the so-called love letter from memory. Yun Chuzhou was secretly proud as she wrote. Fortunately, she had a photographic memory. Otherwise, she would not be able to escape the clutches of the pretty boy. Prince Charming, I have finished writing. Please have a look. Yun Chuzhou doggedly handed the letter that she had written from memory to Di Biming. Di Biming took it and looked at it. He could not help but twitch his lips. Black Thing, your handwriting is too ugly, isn't it? Even a dog's handwriting is better than yours. Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly with guilt. Whether the handwriting is good or not, that is just a formality. Look at the content, look at the content. Besides, my handwriting is so smooth, like a wave. How beautiful. Di Biming looked at her with disdain and picked up the letter to read. Di Biming's brows gradually relaxed. His yearning for him was like a torrential river, never stopping. Pitch, she knows her place. Coquettish slut. Vixen. Di Biming thought of those pretentious admirers and immediately felt that what Yun Chuzhou said was too accurate. Black Stuff's literary talent is not bad. When he saw the third line, the corners of Di Biming's eyes twitched. The world was so big, and she wanted to go out and take a look. This could also be a reason. When Di Biming saw the last line of text message love, and the sign of little Gio who loves you to the bone, his heart was extremely irked. He had said it before, he was so outstanding, so handsome, and so considerate. How could He Dong have deliberately run away? It looked like she really came to the Linghua faction to be a better match for him. Black thing, since you said it so sincerely, this venerable one will let you off this time. If I find out that what you said is a lie, I will definitely slap you to death with my own hands. Although Di Baiming's words were fierce. However, the way he looked at Yun Chuzhou contained a trace of indulgence that he did not realize. Yun Chuzhou quickly agreed, I know, my Prince Charming. I will definitely train hard in the Linghua faction and try my best to chase you as soon as possible. Di Baiming nodded in satisfaction. I heard that the Linghua faction has an entrance test. You can't fail it, right? Yun Chuzhou patted her small chest, Prince Charming. I will definitely pass it. I was personally taught by you, how can those ordinary people compare to me? Di Baiming was very comfortable with this high hat. He took out a fruit from his storage ring. The room was immediately filled with a strange fragrance. Yun Chujia's eyeballs almost fell out. She looked at Di Baiming pitifully. My Prince Charm. It was rare that Di Baiming did not tease her. He directly handed the fruit to her. As long as you perform well, there will be more. Yun Chuzhou answered vaguely as she ate, yes, my Prince Charming, I will listen to you. Yun Chuzhou only felt that the fruit was sweet and soft. It melted in her mouth. It was a delicacy that she had never tasted before. In the end, she shamelessly licked her fingers that were stained with the juice. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chuzhou licking her fingers like a kitten. He felt a little uncomfortable and coughed dryly. The sky is about to brighten. I will send you back. Yun Chuzhou was a typical mother with milk. A single fruit instantly made Di Baiming's image much better. His smile was bright and dazzling. Okay, my Prince Charming. Thank you for your hard work. Di Baiming resisted the urge to take out the remaining fruit in his storage ring. He silently warned himself that the water would flow slowly. This fruit was like a carrot hanging in front of a donkey. If the donkey ate the carrot, then the donkey would not work hard. Chapter 107 Yun Chuzhou did not know that Di Baiming had compared her to a donkey. This fellow was savoring the wonderful taste of the fruit. It was really delicious. Di Baiming carried Yun Chuzhou back to the inn like he was carrying a chicken. Di Baiming placed Yun Chuzhou outside the room and said with a straight face, don't bite others in the future, or it'll knock your teeth out. Yun Chuzhou nodded subconsciously. Di Baiming then turned around and left. Yun Chuzhou entered the room and saw Yun Chu and the other two sleeping soundly. The gigolo must have used some kind of trick. Yun Chuzhou laid on the ground and was a little confused. What did the gigolo mean by telling her not to bite anyone? If she was not allowed to bite anyone, then she could bite him. Well, this pretty boy was indeed a pervert. Not only did he like to whip women, but he also liked to be bitten. He was a complete pervert. Yun Chujia's imagination ran wild for a while, and then she fell asleep without a care in the world. Outside the inn, Feng stood there like a quail. When he saw Di Baiming walking over, he quickly went forward to apologize. Your Excellency, this subordinate knows his mistake. There was a problem with the voice transmission talisman, and this subordinate was not able to make it in time. Di Baiming waved his hand and tossed Feng a storage bag. This was an accident, it's not your fault. Take these voice transmission talismans, if there's any disturbance, inform me immediately. Yes. Your Excellency will do as you say. Feng did not recover until Di Baiming's shadow disappeared into the night. My God, that black girl actually had such great magic power. She actually turned their venerable self from an iceberg into a warm man, wasn't that too shocking? Feng opened the storage bag in his hand, and it was even more chaotic. There were a total of 5 voice transmission talismans in the storage bag. Oh my God, this voice transmission talisman was a rare thing, and their venerable self actually gave him 5 at once. Their venerable self must really like the black girl. TSK, the black girl was really fierce. Look at the way she bit their Excellency's neck, it was almost like a beehive. He did not expect His Excellency to like this tune. What a heavy taste. And Feng thought of the teeth marks on Di Baiming's neck and hesitated for a long time. In the end, he mustered up the courage to pick up a voice transmission talisman. Your Excellency, I think that you should deal with the red mark on your neck. Otherwise, it will be very sensational. After a long while, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. And Feng hurriedly used his divine sense to check. Di Baiming's cold voice came from inside. From this month onward. Ha ha ha, ever since he met the black girl, His Excellency had become more and more humane. For the sake of the monthly salary, he would definitely protect the black girl. With Feng's reminder, Di Baiming, Yun Chujiu would not be so lucky. Early the next morning, Yun Chushan screamed, Little Jiu. What happened to your neck? Yun Chu and Yun Chuki ran over when they heard the scream. They stared at Yun Chujiu's neck with suspicion. Yun Chujiu opened her eyes in a daze and yawned. She said carelessly, What happened to my neck? Was it bitten by a bug? Nonsense. The mark on your neck was clearly bitten by a man. Little Jiu, how could you be so unscrupulous? Yun Chushan's tone carried a trace of excitement. She had finally caught hold of something on her. Bitten by a man? Third sister, I didn't expect you to know so much. I'm still young, I don't understand what you mean. Besides, we're both sleeping in the same room, where did the man come from? Yun Chujiu pouted, her face full of confidence. Chapter 108 Xiaojiu eats snacks. Maybe you sneaked out after we fell asleep. Are you young? You have a criminal record. The more Yun Chushan looked at Yun Chujiu's neck, the more suspicious she felt. Yun Chujiu hated Di Baiming to death in her heart. It was all that damn gigolo's fault. However, she also bit his neck a few times. Was he also surrounded by people? Thinking of the smug gigolo being watched and laughed at by others, Yun Chujiu unconsciously laughed out loud. Yun Chushan took a step back suspiciously. Did Yun Chujiu go crazy? Third sister, if little Jiu sneaks out, how can we not be awakened? Besides, this is not Yi City. We are not familiar with this place. How can there be a man? It must be a bug. Yun Chuki could not stand Yun Chushan's smug look. Yun Chushan suddenly raised her voice, Bug? I slept on the ground with her, why didn't she bite me? Humph. Maybe the bug also knows that your blood is black. Yun Chuki still didn't change her poisonous tongue. Yun Chushan's face immediately darkened. Yun Chuki, what do you mean? It means literally, if you don't want people to know, don't do it yourself. Yun Chushan had a guilty conscience. When she heard Yun Chuki's words, she said with a stern expression, I didn't do anything wrong. What's there to be afraid of people knowing? It's the mark on little Jiu's neck that is very suspicious. Yun Chujiu gave a look to Yun Chuki, who was about to fly into a rage. She laughed and said, Anyway, this neck of mine is definitely not bitten by a human. You can think whatever you want. I'm starving to death. Hurry up and eat breakfast. Yun Chushan felt a little guilty, so she didn't dwell on this matter anymore. After breakfast, Yun Chuzi and the others found Yun Chujiu. Little Jiu, what do we need to prepare for the entrance test in 2 days? Unknowingly, the members of the Yun family treated Yun Chujiu as the person who made the decision. Yun Chujiu giggled and said, Eat well and sleep well. There will always be good people. We will definitely be able to pass the first 3 rounds. Yun Chuzi and the others were stunned. Little Jiu, this will work. Yun Chujiu shrugged her shoulders. What else can we do? Even if you don't sleep for 2 days, you can't level up, right? Why don't you save some energy? Everyone thought about it and thought that Yun Chujiu was right. After all, they couldn't make any qualitative leap, so they might as well save some energy. Therefore, for the next 2 days, the members of the Yun family mainly rested. Yun Chujio, who was in charge of the money, also became generous. She sold 2 horses and exchanged them for a few thousand spirit pearls. Everyone's food standard also improved a lot. One night before the test, Yun Chushan took out an oil paper bag and handed it to Yun Si. This is the snack that third sister bought for you just now. Try it. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed, and she smiled as she took the oil paper bag. Third sister is really thoughtful. We are all sisters, how could we have a grudge against each other overnight? I have long forgiven you, third sister. Yun Chushan smiled unnaturally. Little Jiu is really getting more and more sensible. Quick, try the snack. Yun Chujia's heart turned cold. Yun Chushan, I've already given you a chance, but you still insist on harming me. From now on, I won't treat you as a member of the Yun family anymore. Third sister, this snack looks very delicious, but it's a little dry. Help me get a glass of water. 1 mouthful of snack and 1 mouthful of water is just right. Yun Chushan immediately turned around to get a glass of water. When she turned around, she saw that the corner of Yun Chujia's mouth was stained with a lot of crumbs. She snatched the glass of water and gulped it down. Yun Chujio kept praising, damn, third sister, this snack is really delicious. I ate 2 pieces in one go and almost choked to death. Yun Chushan's eyes flashed with a trace of joy. It's done. I've done what Bai Moyu asked her to do. Tomorrow, she will be able to team up with them. The Bai siblings already have very strong helpers. She will definitely be able to enter the Spirit Flower sect. As for Yun Chu and the others, with Yun Chujio, this good-for-nothing implicated, they will definitely not be able to pass the test. Chapter 109, Ouch, my stomach hurts. Yun Chujio finished the water and looked at the oil paper bag with a regretful expression. Third sister, I'm too full for dinner. I really can't eat the remaining pieces. Can I eat them tomorrow? Yun Chushan thought to herself that there was enough medicine in the 2 pieces of dim sum, so she said with a smile, you little greedy cat, then you can eat them tomorrow. Yun Chujio happily put away the oil paper bag and deliberately showed off to Yun Chu and Yun Chuki, this is my snack, I'm the youngest, you two are not allowed to eat it secretly. Yun Chuki curled her lips, who cares, maybe someone poisoned it. Yun Chujio almost gave a thumbs up, Io, Sister Chi, you are so smart. Yun Chuki's eyes shrank, and then she shouted angrily with a sullen face, Yun Chuki, you have always been against little Jiu before, and now you are always against me? What is wrong with you? Yun Chuki was afraid that Yun Chuki would say something that would expose her, so she quickly interrupted, third sister, seventh sister must have seen you buy snacks for me. She is jealous of me. Yun Chuki saw Yun Chujia's expression and snorted coldly. She did not say anything. She really hated people like Yun Chushan who betrayed her. The next morning, the members of the Yun family arrived at the foot of the Linghua Sect's mountain early in the morning. Even though they had arrived early enough, there were already many people gathered at the foot of the mountain. After another hour, some disciples of the Linghua sect began to come out to maintain order. Those who are taking the test, come over and line up with the test jade token. Those who are not involved, step back. After a short bustle, the people who were taking the test stood in more than 10 rows according to the requirements. Yun Chujio roughly looked at the tens of thousands of people. There was a tall platform in front of everyone, and a middle-aged man stood on it. This test is divided into 4 rounds. The first 3 rounds are for team testing, and the 4th round is for individual testing. Those who pass the first 3 rounds can enter our Linghua sect to do odd jobs, and those who pass the 4th round can enter the outer sect. When the middle-aged man said this, he used his spirit energy, therefore, everyone heard it very clearly. Everyone was slightly puzzled. Why were there only outer sect disciples and not inner sect disciples? The middle-aged man seemed to know everyone's doubts. He then said, "This test is different from the previous ones. The reason why there are no inner sect disciples is because, 1 year after you enter the sect will hold a trial. Regardless of whether you are odd jobs or outer sect disciples, you can participate. At that time, you will be redetermined according to your results whether you enter the inner sect or the outer sect, or whether you are odd jobs." Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, the Linghua sect is quite sneaky. They're afraid that their disciples won't make progress, so they came up with this idea. It's not a bad idea. The middle-aged man waited for everyone's discussion to quieten down, then, he said, "The first 3 rounds of the test require a team test. 7 people will form a team. You can form your own team. If there are no teams in the end, you will be randomly divided into teams. After you are divided into groups, come to my right side to register. Alright, from now on, the time limit is 1 hour." Yun Chuzhou clapped her hands. That's great. There are exactly 7 of us. That's right. It just so happens that there are 7 of us in a group. There's no need to separate them. Looks like little Jiu is right. Our luck is indeed not bad. Yun Chu and the others agreed happily. Only Yun Chushin's eyes were twinkling. She looked around and stared at Yun Chuzhou in confusion. Yun Chuzhou could not help but sneer in her heart. However, she suddenly showed a painful expression on her face. "Oh my, why is my stomach suddenly hurting?" Yun Chu and the others immediately became nervous. "Little Jiu, what's wrong with you? Are you alright? Did you eat something bad?" "But we all ate the same breakfast." Chapter 110, the 7th person. Everyone in the Yun family was panicking, but Yun Chushin's eyes revealed a trace of pride. It was a success. Yun Chushan looked around and finally saw the Bai siblings. Bai Moyu had clearly seen the situation here, so he nodded slightly at Yun Chushan. Yun Chushin's heart was filled with joy, and she pretended to ask Yun Chuzhou, "Little Jiu, are you in a lot of pain? Can you hold on?" Yun Chujia's small face scrunched up. "No, my stomach hurts so much that it's hard for me to walk." "If that's the case, then you won't be able to take the test." "What a pity." Yun Chushan said the words of pity, but her eyes could not hide her gloating. "Third sister, little Jiu has always eaten the same things as us. She ate the pastries you bought last night. Did you do something to her?" Yun Chuki pushed away the pretentious Yun Chushan and asked angrily. Hearing Yun Chuki's words, Yun Chu and the others also looked at Yun Chushan with suspicion. Yun Chushan showed an aggrieved and resentful expression. "Yun Chuki, you have been targeting me everywhere, and now you're actually framing me. And you actually believe her nonsense. Well, since that's the case, let's split up here. I'll find someone else to form a team." After saying that, Yun Chushan didn't wait for the others to stop her. She quickly squeezed out of the crowd and disappeared after making several turns. Yun Chulu scratched his head. Third sister is usually not like this. Why is she so impulsive this time? What impulsive? She's just borrowing the slope to get off the donkey. If you don't believe me, you can take a look later. She must have gotten mixed up with Bai Moyu and the others. Yun Chuki said angrily. She then pointed at Yun Chujia's forehead and scolded, "Say, you know that she has no good intentions. How dare you eat the snack she gave you? Are you that greedy?" Yun Chujio winked at her. "What's real is fake, and what's fake is real. If we don't do this, how can we let them down their guard? What if something bad happens again?" Yun Chuki was surprised and happy. "Little Jiu, are you okay?" "Sure. Continue acting, let them lower their guard." Yun Chujio was still holding her stomach and squatting on the ground, looking like she was in great pain. The faces of the Yun family members stiffened, and with great difficulty, they managed to squeeze out a worried look. Little Joe, but there are only 6 of us left now. What if we are still one person short? Yun Chuzi frowned. As soon as Yun Chuzi finished speaking, a dirty little beggar squeezed in from the side. You are short of people. Let's see how I am. Yun Chuzi and the others were stunned. It was not that they looked down on the beggar, but how did a little beggar at the 2nd level of Chi Ri Fin? The little beggar was a little scared by the look and said with a slight tremble, forget it if you don't want to, humph. Who said I don't want to? Welcome to join us. How should I address you? Yun Chujio smiled brightly. The little beggar saw the sincerity in Yun Chujio's smile and was stunned for a moment. He then said in a non-committal manner, Ching Si, my name is Ching Si. Ching Si. You're a girl. Yun Chuba cried out in shock. The little beggar was instantly like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He widened his eyes and shouted, I'm a girl. What's wrong? Do you have a problem with that? Yun Chuba was shocked and said embarrassedly, I'm just asking what's wrong. Besides, how can a girl be so dirty? As soon as Yun Chuba finished her words, the little beggar sat on the ground and cried loudly, sob, sob, sobi, sob, do you think I want to do this? Who asked me to be a girl? Who asked me to be born in that shabby family that values boys over girls? Chapter 111 goes straight to Ching Yun. Yun Chu was the softest. When she saw the little beggar called Ching Si crying until she was out of breath, she took out a handkerchief and handed it to her. Don't cry anymore. Wipe your tears. Ching Si took the handkerchief and wiped it randomly. Then, she said stubbornly, who said that girls are definitely not as good as boys? I, Ching Si, want to prove that I am 100 times better than those useless people in my family. You are ambitious. Let me introduce you to the members of our group. This is my 4th brother, Yun Chuzi, and this is my beloved 5th sister, Yun Chu. Yun Chujio introduced the members of the Yun family to Ching Si. By the way, Ching Si, how old are you? 15. Yun Chujio squatted on the ground and clapped her hands. Ha, this is great. I am still the youngest. In the future, there will be one more person to bully. Ching Si. Can I go back on my word? Why does it feel like I'm on a pirate ship? Yun Chuzi coughed dryly. Well, now that we're all here, shouldn't we think of a name? Otherwise, how would we announce our name to the public? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Why don't we call it straight up Ching Yun? Coincidentally, our surname also has Ching Sis Ching character. I'm so talented. Everyone thought that this name was not bad. Not only did it contain the Yun character and the Ching character, but it also had a good meaning. They all praised Yun Chujio's name for being brilliant. Yun Chujio naturally showed off for a while. Then, she held her stomach and led everyone to the disciple in charge of the test to register. Straight to the Ching Yun. When the disciple in charge of the registration heard the name of the group that Yun Chuzi mentioned, he could not help but raise his eyebrows in disdain. Just these 7 people in front of him and they still wanted to go straight to the Ching Yun? It was simply wishful thinking. The other groups that were waiting for registration also laughed at him. TSK, some people are really thick-skinned. To go straight to Ching Yun, I think they are really shameless. That's right. The most powerful one is only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm, and there is also a trash without spiritual power. If he can really pass the 3 rounds of tests, I will write his name upside down. Brother Chi, if your name is upside down, it won't sound good. Chi bai, idiot, ha ha ha. Screw you. It's impossible for them to pass, so of course, I don't have to really write my name upside down. Ching Sis' expression was somewhat unsightly. When she was in the family, she had also been ridiculed and looked down upon like this. Could it be that she had made the wrong bet by choosing Yun Chujio and the others? No. She must be very powerful, so she decided to follow her. Yun Chujo didn't know that she had unintentionally gained a fangirl. This fellow narrowed his eyes and remembered the few people who spoke in his heart. It wasn't too late for little Jiu to take revenge. Just you wait. Speaking of which, it was a coincidence. She did not know whether Bai Moyu and the others had come here on purpose or not. Yun Chujo sized up their group. Other than the Bai siblings and the embarrassed Yun Chushan, there were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 men were at the 6th level spirit enhancement while the 2 women were at the 5th level spirit enhancement. When Yun Chuki saw that Yun Chushan was indeed with Bai Moyu and the others, she was instantly furious. Yun Chushan, you're really good. You were acting like a little white lotus before, but now you've revealed your true colors. Yun Chushan snorted coldly, I don't feel that there's anything wrong with me when I walk higher and lower. Be more polite with your words. When I enter the Linghua sect, the Yun family and all of you will have to rely on me. Yun Chujo tugged at Yun Chuki's sleeve, she said pitifully, Third sister, we won't stop you if you walk higher, but you should never have formed a team with our Yun family's sworn enemy. Moreover, you conspired with them to drug me. It really makes me sad. Fortunately, I brought some medicinal herbs. Otherwise, I would definitely be forced to withdraw from the test. Chapter 112 The shameless Yun Chujo. When the onlookers heard Yun Chuji's words, they were immediately energized. Yo, there's a story behind this. Yun Chushan was originally guilty, and now that Yun Chujo had exposed her, she was in a very sorry state. She could only say randomly, You're spouting nonsense. You're spouting nonsense. You're just jealous of me. Yun Chujo could not help but smile bitterly. She said in a heartbroken manner, Third sister, am I jealous of you? I helped you obtain your qualification to take the test. If I'm jealous of you, why should I do anything unnecessary? Forget it, justice is in the heart of the people. Since you're so cruel, let's not have any interactions in the future. Let's go. The bystanders had always sympathized with the weak. Although they had previously despised Yun Chujo and the others, they were now targeting Yun Chu and Bai Moyu. TSK, that woman is quite good-looking. I didn't expect her to have such a black heart. Yeah, isn't she just an ingrate? And that Bai Moyu is probably not a good person either. Shoo. Keep your voice down. I heard that Bai Moyu is related to Elder Shao. Don't make things difficult for us when the time comes. Bai Moyu almost vomited blood from anger. This Yun Chujo was really a scourge. Just 2 sentences had ruined his reputation. Yun Chujo, just you wait. When you are eliminated, I will definitely kill you. Bai Moru glared at Yun Chushan. She didn't know what her brother was thinking. He actually let Yun Chushan team up with them. He was really a jinx. He had dragged them down just as he arrived. Yun Chushan smiled at Bai Moru ingratiatingly. Now that she had completely offended Yun Chujo and the others, she could only cling onto the Bai siblings' thighs. After a quarter of an hour, the disciple in charge of the test shouted, Those who are taking part in the test, go to the designated area to take part in the test. Yun Chujo held her stomach and was protected by Yun Chu and the rest as they stepped into the designated area. The members of the Qing Yun team only saw a white light flash before their eyes. The scene before their eyes had already changed. At this moment, they were standing on an empty piece of land. Other than the 7 of them, there was no one else. In front of them was a stone staircase that stretched as far as the eye could see. It directly reached into the clouds, as if it directly reached the sky. The most shocking thing was that the angle of the stone step increased as it went up. The part that reached into the clouds was almost perpendicular to the ground. If they accidentally fell down, they would definitely be smashed into minced meat. Just when everyone was shocked, a voice sounded, Disciples participating in the test, you need to In addition, all of you must reach it. The test begins now. Yun Chujio stared at the stone steps in front of her and rolled her eyes. What was this test? The first round of the test should not be particularly difficult. It should be a test of courage, stamina, and endurance. Cough, cough, I have something to say. Yun Chujio did not pretend to be weak at this moment. She put her small hands behind her back and said in a pretentious manner. Little Jo, when did we choose you to be the team leader? Yun Chuki curled her lips. Yun Chujio widened her eyes. We had an agreement when we came from Yi City. You all have to listen to me. Did you all go back on your word? Yun Chuki rolled her eyes and did not speak. Yun Chujio then continued, this stone step test should be a test of everyone's courage, stamina, and endurance. I believe that everyone is very brave, not to mention stamina and endurance. Everyone will definitely pass it. Without waiting for everyone to express their opinions, Yun Chujio said shamelessly, however, as you all know, I'm quite useless. So while you guys climb, you should also conserve some of your stamina. When I can't climb anymore, you guys will take turns carrying me. Chapter 113 Secret Medicine. After hearing Yun Chujio's thick-skinned words, although the corners of the eyes of the other 6 people twitched, they all tacitly agreed. After all, they needed all of them to pass. Seeing this, Yun Chujio was very satisfied. She waved her small claws and said, let's go. At the beginning, everyone was very relaxed. They were chatting and laughing, but Yun Chujio immediately stopped them with a stern voice, don't talk, save your strength. Everyone was dejected and didn't speak anymore. They thought that little Jo was too serious. Although this stone step was a little long, with their strength, there shouldn't be any problems. As time passed, everyone no longer thought that way. This stone step seemed to have no end, and the angle was getting bigger and bigger. Everyone's legs seemed to be filled with lead, and their clothes were soaked in sweat. Yun Chuki lost her balance and almost fell down. Fortunately, Yun Chuzi pulled her back. As a result, everyone became a little timid, afraid that they would fall down if they lost their balance. Yun Chujio giggled. Don't worry, even if you fall down, you won't die. This must be some kind of trick. Climb with all your might, I'm still waiting for you to carry me. Hearing this, Yun Chu and the others couldn't help but relax a little. However, hearing little Jo's voice, she wasn't panting at all. It was really strange. Little Jo's physical strength was actually better than theirs. If they turned around to look at Yun Chujio, they would definitely be even more surprised. Not only was Yun Chujio not panting at all, but her forehead was also only sweating a little. Yun Chujio looked at their backs and shook her head. The Qing Xian continent placed too much emphasis on cultivating spiritual power. Instead, they lacked the training of flexibility and endurance. In the future, they would need to help them train. After another hour, everyone had reached the limits of their bodies. Every step was extremely difficult. Basically, they had to drag the railing next to them and climb up. Moreover, there was a cloud of mist surrounding them, and they still couldn't see the end of it. Everyone couldn't help but feel a little disheartened. Yun Chujio estimated that there was still an hour left. Time was about to run out, so she had to think of something. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and opened the small bag that she carried with her. Then, she took out a paper bag. Hey, I have the secret medicine that grandfather gave me. After you eat it, you can quickly recover your strength. Here, I'll give each of you one. When everyone heard this, their spirits were immediately lifted. They took the secret medicine that Yun Chujio handed over and were stunned. Little Jo, isn't this the candied fruit? Is it really a secret medicine? Yun Chujio nodded her head with. Otherwise, how else could I have persevered until now? Everyone thought about it and agreed. If it wasn't for the secret medicine, how could little Jo, who didn't have spiritual power, be so powerful? She didn't look tired at all. She was much stronger than us. Everyone ate the secret medicine in their hands one after another. Sure enough, they felt their bodies suddenly filled with energy. Little Joe, this secret medicine is really useful. I think I can climb this far. Exactly, I feel my whole body is full of energy now. Let alone climbing this step, I can even defeat a level 2 demonic beast. That's right. My legs are no longer hurting and my waist is no longer sore. I can climb up 6 steps in one go. Yunchujo was embarrassed. This phrase sounded a little familiar. Alright, since everyone has recovered their strength, let's hurry up and climb up. It's almost time. Yunchujo urged everyone with a stern face. When everyone heard Yunchuji's words, they immediately felt like they were injected with stimulants as they tried their best to climb up. Chapter 114 was a clever design. Yunchujo looked at the backs of the people who were trying their best to climb up. A cunning look flashed across her eyes. These innocent children were really easy to fool. However, she did not plan to tell them the truth. Perhaps this secret medicine would still be useful in the future. After 15 minutes, they finally saw the end of the stone steps. The crowd was even more excited. Just as they were about to climb up in one go, Yunchujo quickly shouted, "Wait!" Everyone was very puzzled. Little Joe, what's wrong? Don't go up yet. Didn't the person who tested previously say that only after passing the first round of the test can we proceed to the second round of the test? Yunchujo blinked her eyes. There must be a story behind this. Yes, is there a problem? It's better to hurry up and go up. We're running out of time. Yunchulu was a hot-tempered person. Seeing that the time was almost up, he could not help but feel a little anxious. Yunchujo rubbed her chin, her eyeballs rolled around. Sixth brother, don't be anxious, don't be anxious. I thought about it just now. It's very likely that the second round of the test is directly above this step. If we don't make any preparations and just recklessly rush up, it's very likely that we'll directly choke on our farts. It can't be. The Linghua sect can't be that abnormal, right? Although we ate the secret medicine, we're also exhausted. We definitely won't be able to pass any test that's arranged for us. Yunchulu said in surprise. I think it's very possible. Do you think that the Linghua sect is so easy to enter? Little Joe, then what should we do? Yunchuki felt that Yunchuji's words made a lot of sense. Anyway, there's still time. You guys take a rest first, and I'll think about it. Yunchujo rubbed her chin, and her brain started to work quickly. If she was the person who designed the test segment, after testing her courage and physical strength, what test would she do? Yes, that's right. It should be her reaction speed. There must be people or demon beasts lying in ambush, or it could be a formation or something like that. Brothers and sisters, there must be an ambush up there, but the test will only be triggered after all of us go up. Among us, fourth brother has the highest spiritual power, and he can also release his spiritual power. How about this, we go up first. Fourth brother, wait for us to be ready, then you go up. Yunchujo waved her small claws, she made a decision immediately. Everyone seemed to be used to listening to Yunchuji's orders and began to carry out her orders without any doubt. Thus, Yunchujo and the others climbed to the top of the stone steps first. What appeared before their eyes was a lush green grassland with a few wild flowers. Especially when the sun shone on their bodies, it made them feel lazy. They just wanted to lie down and sleep. At this moment, in the Linghua sect's meeting hall, besides the few elders who were in seclusion, the elders of the Five Peaks and the Linghua sect master, Xianyuan Changkong, were all watching the entrance test in front of the Ying stone. TSK, old man Chu, your question this time is really too insidious. Not to mention those little rookies, even the current disciples will feel extremely relaxed when they see this grassland after they are completely exhausted. A little old man with a goatee said with a beaming smile, "This is a good idea that I thought of for a few months before coming up with." Shan Yanghu. The test was their ability to react on the spot. Look at these little rookies, each and every one of them as stupid as pigs. Seeing them being tortured until they cried for their parents, this old man is very gratified. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. This old man Chu was becoming more and more mischievous as he lived. Only Master Xianyuan pointed to a corner of the shadow stone and said, "Elder Qiyu, although your test design is very ingenious, it seems that this little girl has already guessed your intentions." Everyone followed the direction Master Xianyuan pointed and looked over. They saw two youths lying on the grass. After a black girl kicked them and said a few serious words, those people became vigilant and surrounded the little girl in the middle. Would Chapter 115 have a comeback? Elder Chu raised his beard and said unwillingly, "HMPH. The shadow stone can only see movement but not hear sound. Perhaps that black girl was just a blind cat that ran into a dead rat." At this moment, a disciple who was in charge of the test had already handed the situation of Yun Chuzhou and the others to Elder Chu. Elder Chu took a look, he could not help but laugh out loud. "I told you, how can others compare with such a smart brain of mine? Look, this straight to the clouds group is really too weak. And that black girl is a good-for-nothing who doesn't have any spiritual power. She must be afraid, so she got people to surround her in the middle." Everyone was stunned, and when they saw Yun Chuzhou and the others' information, they were also stunned. The highest level is only at the 4th level of spirit enhancement. And there's a good-for-nothing who doesn't have any spiritual power. Then how did they climb up? Also, how did they get the qualification to take the test? The disciple in charge of the test had a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. He told them what he knew. Everyone's gaze fell on an old man with a square face. This person was the Peak Master of Middle Peak, Yu Tsang, whom Yun Chuzhou met in the demonic beast forest. Peak Master Yu was stunned. He thought to himself, this Yun Chuzhou really dared to say it. She did not know what it meant to stop when things were good and to stop when things were good. She actually used a token to get 7 registration qualifications. She was really, really good at deceiving people. Peak Master Yu had the intention to tell the truth, but on one hand, she felt that Yun Chuzhou cared about her family and had good intentions. If she told the truth, they would be stripped of their test qualifications. On the other hand, if she told the truth, it was inevitable that she would be ridiculed by everyone. It seemed a little embarrassing. Thirdly, cough cough, that old fellow Sun Buzhong was quite fond of that black girl. This old fellow was currently in closed-door cultivation. If he were to come out and find out that I had revealed the truth, he would definitely explode. Peak Master Yu laughed dryly when he thought of this. There really is such a thing. When we first met Yun Chuzhou, that little girl, although she did not have any spiritual power, she was quick-witted and lively. Moreover, she had a tenacious character. Hence, she was moved by compassion and promised to give her 7 qualifications to register. Xiao Pancher from the West Peak frowned. He was the most principled and wanted to say a few words. However, when he thought of Bai Maoyu and his sister, he could only swallow his words. He had clearly. If not for that disciple setting a precedent for the two of them, Yun Chuzhou would not have been able to rely on 1 registration token to obtain 7 registration qualifications. However, this Yun Chuzhou's personality carried a strong opportunism, and she was really unlikable. Thinking up to this point, Xiao Pancher said with a cold face, "There are only 6 of them. I reckon that one of them has already been eliminated. They should have failed the first round of the test." Just as Xiao Pancher finished speaking, the black girl stretched her neck and shouted something at the bottom of the stone steps. Then, a youth holding a treasured sword climbed up with full vigilance. Everyone exclaimed, as expected. The black girl had indeed guessed Elder Chu's intention. She deliberately left a person behind to wait for them to be ready before letting the last person come up. If they guessed correctly, the last person should be Yunchuzi, who had the highest spiritual power. This black girl is really smart. Elder Chu jumped his feet. Impossible. Impossible. She must have met a dead rat by chance. Everyone just smiled and ignored Elder Chu. They all turned their attention to the Clear Sky group. They didn't even pay attention to some of the stronger groups that they had previously thought highly of. After all, in this world, only a comeback was the most exciting. However, would the weakest Clear Sky group succeed in their comeback? Chapter 116. The Ironbone Bear continued to be crippled. Seeing that everyone was ignoring him, Elder Chu became even angrier. He raised his beard and shouted, HMPH. So what if I've guessed it? With just these 7 small dishes, they won't be able to pass this hurdle. Old Xiao, don't you think I'm right? Xiao Pancher frowned and nodded. That's right, not everything can be done by taking advantage of opportunities. The rest of the people did not argue with them, their gazes were firmly locked onto the shadow stone. Just as Yunchuzi leapt up, 3 iron bone bears suddenly appeared on the plains. Seeing Yunchuzhou and the others, they immediately waved their huge claws and pounced forward. Elder Qiu said proudly, did you see that? 3 second-grade iron bone bears, even 7 4th-level spirit-enhanced cultivators would find it very difficult to deal with them, not to mention these 7 little vegetables. That black girl might directly faint from fright. Although Elder Chu said so, his small eyes were staring fixedly at the shadow stone. At the beginning, although the Clear Sky group had been prepared, they were still slightly flustered. Then, the black girl who was surrounded in the middle shouted something, and the 6 people on the periphery began to split up into 2 groups to deal with the 3 ironbone bears. Elder Chu curled his lips. They really overestimated themselves. They don't know if they have any brains. They actually let the strongest 2 deal with 1, and the other 4 must be smacked to death. Elder Chu's words came to an abrupt end because Yunchuzi and Yunchulu had killed the ironbone bear in a short while. Then, the 2 of them began to support the other 2 groups. Master Xianyuan and the other elders' expressions turned slightly stiff. Cough cough, this black lass was too despicable. She actually made them attack the ironbone bear's anus. However, this was also a method of surprise. The most vulnerable part of the ironbone bear's body was only its eyes. The ironbone bear probably did not expect that someone would attack them there. It was careless and actually succeeded in 1 strike. Hey, look, what is the black girl doing? An elder shouted in surprise. Everyone looked and saw Yunchuzhou squatting in front of the dead bear. She took out a small dagger from her satchel. As her body blocked everyone's line of sight, no one knew what she was doing. 15 minutes later, the other 2 ironbone bears were also killed by the Qingyun group. Yunchuzhou followed the same pattern and took out a small dagger to fiddle with it for a while. Humph. This is just a piece of cake. It won't be as simple as that later. Elder Chu said while cursing in his heart. This black girl is actually worse than me. The 3 corpses of the ironbone bears on the grass suddenly disappeared. Then, another 3 ironbone bears pounced on Yunchuzhou and the others while howling. The Qingyun team did the same thing. They still went against 1 ironbone bear in pairs. However, due to the decrease in stamina, it took much longer this time. When the first ironbone bear died, Yunchuzhou squatted in front of the bear to take a look. Then, she spread her short legs and ran far away. Ha ha ha. I told you that this black girl would be scared. Look, she must be so scared that she wants to run away alone. Elder Chu felt very proud that he had finally moved back to a city. Peak Master Yu frowned. This black girl had always cared about family. She shouldn't be so selfish, right? Master Xianyuan suddenly asked, Elder Chu, how do we pass this second round? Elder Chu raised his beard and said proudly, "We have to fight for 10 rounds before we pass. Do you think that this group of small fries can survive 10 rounds? Even if they have some tricks, their stamina can't keep up. I reckon that if they can't survive the 4th round, they will be finished." Everyone couldn't help but nod their heads when they heard Elder Chu's words. Indeed, the strength of the Clear Sky group was still too weak. It would be very difficult for them to survive the 4th round. It seemed that a comeback wasn't an easy matter. The Clear Sky group could only stop at the 2nd round of the test. Chapter 117 Whack-Mole Stick. Just when everyone thought that the Qingyun group had lost all hope, they saw that the black girl stopped running and squatted in front of a bunch of wild flowers. She did not move for a long time and seemed to be in a daze. After a while, she ran to another group of wild flowers and continued to be in a daze. Everyone was puzzled. What was the black girl doing? Admiring the flowers? Wasn't this too much of a bad time? How big was her heart? The battle was raging over there. Where were you enjoying the flowers? The black girl shouted something at the 6 people over here. Then, these people acted like cats playing with mice. It seemed like they were using up the strength of the Iron Bone Bear, but more like they were stalling for time. Elder Chu curled his lips. Stupid. Don't tell me they think that they will pass this round of assessment when the time is up. They really look down on this elder's wisdom. Everyone felt that Elder Chu's words made sense. This time, the black girl had guessed wrongly. The black girl was still in a daze as she ran through the flowers. Then, she stood beside a bush of wild flowers, holding a small dagger, and shouted a few words at the 6 people. At this moment, the 2 Ironbone Bears were almost befuddled by the teasing. 2 of them ran towards the direction of the black girl, while the remaining 4 people ran in pairs, intentionally leading the Ironbone Bears to run towards the other 2 directions. Everyone in the meeting hall was a little confused. What was going on? What did the black girl want to do? Soon, the 4 people also stopped in their tracks. Then, the black girl shouted something, and the 4 people finally ended the lives of the 2 Ironbone Bears. Elder Chu, what do you think this black girl is doing? One of the elders asked in puzzlement. Elder Chu did not know why, but he had an ominous premonition in his heart. He said perfunctorily, "HMPH. She's just trying to be mysterious." Once they split up, she'll die even faster this time. Before Elder Chu finished speaking, everyone let out a wave of exclamations. Oh my God! This, how could this be? Ah, no wonder the black girl ran back and forth earlier. So there's a reason. This is really too unexpected. Interesting. Heavens, it can be like this. The black girl is really too sneaky. Elder Chu, this round of the test was ruined by the black girl. Ha ha ha. Elder Chu focused his eyes and almost fainted from anger. The 2nd round of the test that I had racked my brains for was actually played by the black girl. This is simply too embarrassing. I saw that the Clear Sky group was divided into 3 groups, each group guarding a bush of wild flowers. After the Ironbone Bear's corpse disappeared, another Ironbone Bear appeared from the bush of wild flowers. Before the Ironbone Bear could react, the weapons of the Clear Sky group came slashing at it. One person specialized in piercing the eyes, while the other specialized in poking the anus. The pitiful Ironbone Bear lost most of its life before it could react. In the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, it had already killed an Ironbone Bear. After repeating this over and over again, it was likely that the technique had become more proficient and it did not even take half an incense stick's time. Impossible. How did the black lass know that the Ironbone Bear would appear from these 3 wild flowers? Elder Chu was so angry that he was hopping around. He felt that he had really lost a great deal of face this time. The members of the Clear Sky group were like whack-a-mole. Not to mention 10 rounds, even 20 rounds would not be a problem. It was really too easy, wasn't it? Everyone was also discussing animatedly. How did the Black Lass discover the location of the formation's eye? The wild flowers on the plains weren't just those few bushes. How did she find it all of a sudden? It's probably related to her previous actions. This old man is also very curious. I can only wait until the test is over to ask the Black Lass. Serene Peak Master saw that the Clear Sky group's performance wasn't bad and spoke with pride. Elder Chu felt that he had nowhere to put his old face. He said angrily, so what if they pass 2 rounds? There's still a 3rd round. They definitely won't pass the 3rd round. Chapter 118, Elder Chu, what's the content of the 3rd round of the test? Everyone was very curious. The content of the entry test had always been kept strictly confidential. Even Master Xianyuan only knew some general information. Elder Chu raised his neck and said proudly, I've spent a lot of effort in the 3rd round of the test. Not to mention those 7 small dishes, even the strongest groups would have to be skinned alive if they wanted to pass. The Qingyun team didn't know that they had become the focus of attention and were happily whack-a-mole. Yun Chulu, I didn't expect that this Tier 2 Iron Bone Bear would be so vulnerable. It was killed by us in just a few hits. Yun Chuba, that's right. It's even weaker than the Wind Edge Rabbit. Yun Chuki, is the brain of the person who designed the 2nd round of the test squeezed by a door? Why is the 2nd round of the test easier than the 1st round? Yun Chu, little Jiu is smart. Otherwise, we would have been tortured to death by these Iron Bone Bears. Yun Chuzi, yes, little Jiu is indeed the biggest contributor. Qingisai, little Jiu, you are too smart to be human. Yun Chujiu. After 10 rounds, the scene changed. Yun Chujiu and the others found themselves standing on a high platform, and there was an endless abyss below. Little Jiu, what will the content of this round be? It feels so terrifying. Yun Chuki looked down. The bottom was bottomless, and it was terrifying to look at. Yun Chujiu looked at the platform. It was about 50 to 600 feet in diameter, and there was an abyss below. Could it be? Yun Chujiu frowned. This platform should be a PK platform. Fuck. What does fuck mean? Everyone looked at Yun Chujiu in confusion. Ah, it means a competition stage. It means a competition stage. Yun Chujiu stuck out her tongue. Yun Chuba cried out in shock. Competition stage. Heavens, our group is the weakest. Any random group can crush us to death. Then, won't we not be able to pass this round of the test? The other few people were also filled with worry. Indeed, the strength of any group was far higher than that of the Qingyun group. It would be extremely difficult to pass this round of the test. Yun Chujiu glared at them, difficult. Of course it's difficult. If it wasn't difficult, wouldn't everyone be able to enter the Linghua sect? You all must know that there are tigers on the mountain, yet you still choose to walk towards the tiger mountain. Don't you think that you'll be able to do yourself a favor if you don't risk your lives? All of you, beat them up with all your might. Do you hear me? Little Jiu, what you said makes sense, but there's a huge difference in strength. Even if we go all out, we won't be able to beat them. Yun Chulu scratched his head. Listen to me, let's do it this way. Yun Chujiu babbled on. The melon-eating elders in the meeting hall were all extremely curious. Sigh, what's that black girl gesturing about? Elder Chu smiled smugly, gesturing is useless. They can't win this round by relying on their little tricks. I've arranged for 2 groups to fight in this round. Which group do you think will encounter this group of small fries and not be given points? Ha ha ha. Elder Chu, then which group will meet the Clear Sky group? Serene Peak Master frowned, the Clear Sky group was worried. Let me see, it should be this all-conquering group. Look, they are about to finish the second round of the test. Elder Chu pointed at an area on the shadow stone and said. Immediately, a disciple handed the information of the all-conquering group to Elder Chu. Elder Chu's mouth almost couldn't close when he saw it. Ha, this time, we can't go straight up to the Clear Sky group. This all-conquering group has 1 Spirit Enhanced 6th level, 2 5th level Spirit Enhanced 5th level, and 4 4th level Spirit Enhanced 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 6th level Spirit Enhanced 6th level Spirit Enhanced 4th 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 level Spirit Enhanced 6th level Spirit Enhanced 4th 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 level Spirit Enhanced 6th level Spirit Enhanced 4th 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 level Spirit Enhanced 4th. Chapter 119 was truly a disgrace when everyone heard Elder Chu's words. They felt that there was basically no suspense in this round of duels. The difference in strength was just too great. Even if the all-conquering group only sent out 3 people, they would still be able to completely defeat the Clear Sky group. Peak Master Yu sighed in his heart. The Clear Sky group was also quite unlucky. This all-conquering group's strength could be ranked in the top 10 of this test. They basically had no chance of winning. Look! What is that black girl holding in her hand? Everyone came back to their senses and took a look. Sure enough, the black girl took out a few paper bags from her satchel and gave them to 3 of them. Then, she began to talk and compare them. Could it be something like poison? An elder guessed. Poison pills are very expensive in the world. With their wealth, they simply can't afford it. If it's poison from the secular world, it basically won't pose a threat to the all-conquering group. Peak Master Yu shook his head. What could it be? This black girl is really unpredictable. Look, the 10th round of all-conquering is about to end. The melon-eating elders were all excited, their eyes fixed on Yun Chuzhou and the others. They more or less hoped that the Qingyun group could create a miracle. This boring cultivation career was rare and interesting. The group leader of the indestructible group was Lu Qinghua, who was at the 6th level of the Spirit Enhancement realm. He came from a medium cultivation clan. Due to his high talent and his superior family background, he was very conceited. The 6 people in the same group as him were also members of the Lu Shi clan. Their strength was not weak either, so they basically did not encounter any big trouble during the 2 rounds of the test. Soon, the 10th round of the Iron Bone Bear was eliminated. The 7 people were chatting and laughing. Team leader, this test of the Linghua faction isn't as difficult as the legends say. Lu Qinghua curled his lips. If you ask me, the Linghua faction is only a so-so. Even that bullshit, straight to the Azure Cloud group can obtain the qualification to take the test. It's really getting worse by the day. Team leader, that so-called Azure Cloud group will probably be eliminated in the first round. It's not worth mentioning at all. While the few of them were discussing, the scene in front of them changed. Before Lu Qinghua and the others could react, they felt something fluttering towards them. Achoo! Achoo! What the hell is that? It's choking me. Ah! My eyes, it's burning me to death. Just as Lu Qinghua and the others were wailing, a few swords and wind blades slashed towards them. When the melon-eating L. This is the all-conquering group being beaten like a local rat. All-conquering has now become a miserable group. It's just a little trick. Only those at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm can fall for it. Those high-level ones can handle it. Although Elder Chu said so, he had to admit that this black girl was even more wicked than him. As Elder Chu expected, the 4 people at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm were caught unprepared. After they were injured by Yun Chu and the others, they were kicked off the platform by Yun Chujiu. Lu Qinghua and the other 3 at the higher levels jumped to the side in a sorry state and looked at Yun Chujiu and the others with tears in their eyes. Achoo! Achoo! You guys are too despicable. You actually hurt people secretly. And you even used pepper powder and pepper flour. Lu Qinghua said fiercely with tears in his eyes. Didn't we see that you guys had gone through so much during the test and wanted to give you some supplements? You guys really don't know how to appreciate the kindness of others. Yun Chujiu hugged her small shoulders and her small feet trembled. No matter how she looked at it, she deserved a beating. Chapter 120 came up with another strange move, stupid girl. Don't be so pleased with yourself. We didn't have a stable footing just now and were ambushed by you. Otherwise, your little tricks won't be able to do anything to us. Humph. Even if there are only the 3 of us left, it would still be as easy as flipping over our hands to deal with you. Lu Qinghua said through gritted teeth. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. Stop bragging. Isn't the Ironbone Bear stronger than you guys? The 2 of us dealt with one, but didn't we still kill dozens of them? Moreover, I didn't even need to make a move. Hearing Yun Chu's words, Yun Chujiu and the others couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Little Jiu, the Ironbone Bear didn't know how to protect its anus. These people all knew that. Moreover, they couldn't beat the gophers now. They really couldn't beat them. Lu Qinghua and the other 2 were stunned at first, and then they laughed out loud. You're really not afraid of bragging. Go. 4th brother, 5th sister, you guys deal with that fatty. 6th brother, 8th brother, you guys deal with that skinny guy. 7th sister, Qing Si, you 2 deal with this San Jiaoyan. Yun Chujiu waved her small claws and gave the order instantly. When Yun Chuzi and the others saw Yun Chujiu leave the most powerful Lu Qinghua to Yun Chuki and Qing Si, they couldn't help but be stunned. Wasn't she asking for a beating? What are you waiting for? This is Tianjis horse race. Go! Yun Chujiu said fiercely. Tianjis horse race. Yun Chuzi and the others didn't know what Yun Chujiu meant, but they were used to listening to Yun Chuji's command, so they picked up their weapons and went straight to their respective opponents. 7th sister, Qing Si, try to stall this triangle-eyed man. When the other side is finished, we will gang up on him. Yun Chujiu whispered to Yun Chuki and Qing Si. In the meeting hall, the melon-eating elders were stretching their necks and staring at each other in confusion. Has the black girl gone mad? Is she going to commit suicide? Is it because she thinks that the situation is over and is trying to resist? TSK, although the Qingyun group is not very strong, these people look pretty good, especially that black girl. Although she doesn't have any spiritual power, she is really smart. I saw that her kicks just now were perfect in both strength and angle. I also noticed it. Look at her black and skinny figure. She can actually send a person flying more than 100 feet with one kick. She's borrowing Qiao Jin. This little girl is really smart. Elder Chu saw that these people went astray as they chatted. His face stiffened. It doesn't matter if she's smart or not. In any case, she won't be able to pass this round of the test. Everyone sighed. Not bad. Although there were only 3 people left in the all-conquering group, their strength was still higher than the Clear Sky group. The Clear Sky group basically had no chance of winning. Not necessarily. This lord thinks highly of the Clear Sky group. Master Xianyuan said with a faint smile. Everyone was puzzled, and Elder Chu curled his lips. Sect Master, are you sure you didn't say the opposite? Master Xianyuan laughed out loud. Elder Chu, of course I didn't say the opposite. The little girl's action seemed like a moth to the flame, but in reality, there was a profound meaning behind it. As long as the 2 weaker ones could really hold on until the other 2 groups won, then there would only be 1 person left in the all-conquering group. They definitely wouldn't be able to defeat the Clear Sky group. Only then did everyone come to a realization. The Sect Master was indeed the Sect Master. He was more insightful than them. Not bad. If that was the case, then the Clear Sky group's chances of winning would greatly increase. Elder Chu was stunned. He had to admit that that black girl was really crafty. However, he said, this is just a hypothesis. What if those 4 people can't beat the other 2? What if those 2 little girls can't hold on until rescue? Then the 7 little vegetables will be completely useless. Everyone felt that what Elder Chu said made sense. In the end, could the Qingyun group defeat the strong with the weak? Chapter 121, We Won. Everyone stared at the Shadow Stone, only to see that both sides had already engaged in a chaotic battle. Only that little black girl stood by the side and did not stop for a single moment, babbling and babbling. No one knew what she was saying. Yun Chuzhou had already calculated in her heart. Although she could release her spirit energy, the gigolo had said that she could release her spirit energy before she reached the 4th level of spirit enhancement, so she could not reveal it as a last resort. If she really could not do it, she would strike them again. No matter what, she had to enter the Spirit Flower sect. Hey, Triangle Eyes, our group is called Sanjiaoyan. What's the name of your group? Since she couldn't use her spiritual power, then she would use a little trick. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. My name is Lu Qinghua, not Sanjiaoyan. Our group is called Invincible. I didn't ask what your name is. Why are you so busy reporting your name? You are so shameless. All-conquering. I think you are the pathetic group. Yun Chuzhou put her hands on her waist and jumped around to scold him. Lu Qinghua was so angry that his face turned green. Stupid girl, don't be so proud. After I take care of these 2, I will teach you a lesson. Yun Chuzhou bared her little white teeth at him. La la la, bite me if you have the ability. Sanjiaoyan. Pathetic group. You are dead. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he actually jumped to the side. He got rid of Yun Chuki and Qing Si and went straight to Yun Chuzhou. Stupid girl, I told you to spout nonsense. I'll kill you first. I'm so scared. Don't kill me. Yun Chuzhou screamed and ran away. Lu Qinghua was so angry that he was dizzy. He didn't care about Yun Chuki and Qing Si who were chasing him with swords. He just threw a few wind blades at Yun Chuzhou. Oh my god, you scared me to death. Are you going to pierce my heart with thousands of arrows? You triangle-eyed man, you are too vicious. Yun Chuzhou dodged left and right. It seemed like a close call, but none of the wind blades touched Yun Chuzhou. Lu Qinghua was about to throw another wind blade at Yun Chuzhou when Yun Chuki's sword came at him. He had to deal with Yun Chuki and Qing Si who were chasing after him. When Yun Chuki and Qing Si were about to give up, Yun Chuzhou would jump over and provoke them with her words. However, the arrogant Lu Qinghua could not take it and would definitely go after Yun Chuzhou again. Therefore, even though Lu Qinghua was much stronger than Yun Chuki, an hour had passed and he still could not get Yunchuki, Qingxi, and Yunchujiu off the stage. Yunchujiu shouted at Yunchuzi and the others, "Hey, fourth brother, you guys have to work harder. The secret medicine that you guys took before S. Do you guys feel like your bodies are filled with power? Their miserable group is about to be finished. Kill them, and we can enter the Linghua sect. Think about our clansmen, they're all waiting for our good news." Yunchuzi and Yunchu combined were already slightly stronger than the fatty. Now that Yunchujiu shouted, she suddenly felt her spirit shake, as if her entire body was filled with strength. The two of them attacked consecutively. The fatty was flustered for a moment and actually lost his footing and fell off the stage. Yunchuzi and Yunchu wanted to come over and help, but Yunchujiu quickly shouted, "Don't worry about us first. Finish off that thin man first, then we'll gang up on this Sanjiaoyan." When that skinny guy saw that fatty had fallen, he immediately became a little timid. In addition, the Qingyun team members became more and more courageous as they fought. It was as if they were on steroids, and soon, they were also kicked under the stage. When Lu Qinghua saw that fatty and skinny guy lost one after another, he immediately panicked. It was true that he was at level 6 of the spirit enhancement, but a good tiger could not withstand a pack of wolves. It was over. The situation was over. Lu Qinghua held on for a short while and jumped off the high platform. He would definitely lose anyway, so it was better to suffer less. "Little Jiu, we won. Little Jiu, we can really enter the Linghua faction. Little Jiu, we didn't embarrass the Yun family." The members of the Qingyun group were so excited that tears streamed down their faces. Yes, from the beginning when they did not have any hope, all the way until now, although they were the weakest and no one thought highly of them, they had won. They had relied on perseverance and hard work, and they had won. Chapter 122 had a sudden change. The meeting room was also filled with cheers. Ha! The Clear Sky Group won. This battle is too exciting. It's really a good example of the weak defeating the strong. Yeah. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. A 4th level spirit enhancement, 2 3rd level spirit enhancement, 3 2nd level spirit enhancement, and a group without spirit energy actually passed 3 rounds of tests. Yeah, the one who contributed the most was that black girl. Smart, she's really too smart. That's right. It's a pity that this black girl doesn't have spirit energy. Otherwise, her future would definitely be boundless. That's right, Peak Master Yu, why doesn't this little girl have spirit energy? It's said that she couldn't absorb spirit energy since she was young. It's indeed a pity. Although Yu Feng said so, he was very happy in his heart. No matter what, even if the Clear Sky Group couldn't enter the outer sect, they could at least become odd jobs. Everyone was chatting and laughing. Only Elder Chu and Elder Shao remained silent. Elder Chu's face was a little embarrassed. He had already said so much, but he didn't expect that the 7 noobs would actually pass 3 rounds of the test. On the other hand, Elder Shao didn't like Yunchuji's style of doing things. He thought that this person was too opportunistic and not practical enough. However, the two of them had very high statuses, so they didn't really go to the extent of making things difficult for a few juniors. I'm looking forward to the next individual test. I wonder if these 7 people will be able to enter the outer sect. An elder said excitedly. Only the 300 people with the best results in the individual test will be able to enter the outer sect. It's basically impossible for the 7 of them to enter. Oh right, Elder Chu, what's the content of the individual test? Elder Chu was in a bad mood and said in a muffled voice, "First, we have to climb the 10,000 stone steps at the back of the mountain. Then, we have to take the mental illusion test." Everyone could not help but grin. This old man Chu was really ruthless. These people who participated in the test had just entered the 3rd round of the test and were already exhausted. Even if they could climb the 10,000 stone steps and enter the illusion test, their minds would definitely be relaxed and it would be very difficult to pass. Everyone's gaze once again focused on the shadow stone. Most of them were still paying attention to the 7 members of the Qingyun group. The scene in front of Yun Chuzhou and the others had already changed from the high platform to the foot of a mountain. The voice of the test disciple came from the test board. Congratulations to the Clear Sky group for passing 3 rounds of the group test. For the 4th round of the individual test, the first 300 people to climb up the steps to the top of the mountain will enter the outer sect. Yun Chulu and the others looked at the endless stone steps and wailed, "Oh my god, this looks like there are even more stone steps than the first round of the test. I can't even lift my legs." Yun Chuzhou glared at them. "There's no such thing as impossible, only not working hard. If you can't catch up to me, you can call me Big Sister from now on." After saying that, Yun Chuzhou opened her legs and ran up the stone steps. Yun Chulu and the others looked at each other. Little Jiu was the youngest, and she didn't have any spiritual power. Could it be that they didn't have little Jiu's perseverance? Chase! Yun Chuzhou deliberately slowed down, so that Yun Chulu and the others couldn't catch up, but she also didn't leave too far behind. In the meeting hall, everyone was discussing again. I didn't expect that black girl's stamina to be so good. I think she's very relaxed. It doesn't make sense. How can a little girl without spiritual power have such good stamina? It's really strange. The other 6 people are also commendable for their perseverance. They are completely relying on their mental fortitude to hold on. And they are indeed not bad. They have already climbed more than half of the way up. If they hold on a little longer, they might very well make it into the top 100. This is really unbelievable. Just when everyone was full of confidence in the Qingyun group, a sudden change occurred. The sky suddenly darkened, and a large patch of thick and heavy wuyun quickly gathered in the sky. Chapter 123 was a big deal. Yun Chuzhou had a bad premonition the moment wuyun gathered. Oh my god, could it be that lightning was going to strike her? Normally, she would be very happy and would be eager to be struck by lightning. But now was not the time. Damn lightning, if you didn't come early or late, why did you come to join in the fun? If it was an ordinary silver lightning, it would be better. But if it was a purple lightning tribulation, it would definitely implicate the people around them. What should they do? Yun Chuzhou weighed the pros and cons and said to Yun Chuzi and the others, "You guys climb for a while first. I'll rest for a while." Yun Chulu said with a cheeky smile, "Little Jiu, we don't have any strength left. Can we rest for a while too?" Yun Chuji's small face stiffened. "No, I can still run now. Can you guys do it? Hurry up and climb." Yun Chulu laughed dryly and scratched his head. He could only reluctantly follow Yun Chuzi and the others to climb up. Just as Yun Chulu and the others climbed more than 1,000 feet away, a few silver lightning bolts struck down from the sky. Yun Chuzhou let out a long breath. Fortunately, it was silver and not purple. At this moment, the meeting hall was filled with exclamations. The image on the shadow stone began to blur and eventually turned into ripples. Oh no! The heavenly lightning must have destroyed the formation's eye. This old man will go and check it out. Elder Chu frowned and quickly left to check. Yun Chuzhou had just let out a sigh of relief. Just as she was about to chase after Yun Chuzi and the others, a purple lightning struck down towards Yun Chuzhou. Damn it, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. Yun Chuzhou was afraid of attracting the attention of others and also afraid of implicating others, so she hurriedly left the stone steps and went into the forest next to her. The purple lightning bolt also followed her into the forest in a crooked manner. It seemed like it wouldn't stop until it struck Yun Chuzhou. Finally, Yun Chuzhou found a small empty space. With her hands on her waist, she pointed at the little lightning bolt that was chasing after her and jumped around while cursing, "Fuck. You little purple loach, you didn't come early or late. You actually came to strike me at this time. I'll give you 10,000 bad reviews. You damn little loach. Come on. Strike me. I can't wait for it." The little purple lightning paused for a moment, as if it was in a difficult position. Then, it aimed at Yunchujo. Well, to be precise, it was aimed at Yunchuji's small satchel. What? Yunchujo was dumbfounded. So it wasn't aimed at her. It was aimed at Xiao Hanyo. Before Yunchujo could react, several more purple lightning bolts came down from the sky. They were exactly the same as the previous. They paused for a moment, then some went to Yunchujo, and some went to the satchel. These finger-sized lightning bolts were like tickles to Yunchujo now. They were not satisfying at all. As Yunchujo was disturbed by the test, she was extremely angry. She pointed at Wu Yun in the sky and cursed, "Too weak. Too weak. Have you not eaten? If you have the ability, hit me harder. Don't make me look down on you." The purple lightning bolts in Wu Yun were instantly enraged. Too much. Too much. Too much. If they didn't chop this black girl to death, they wouldn't be able to survive in the lightning world. Thus, the purple lightning bolts gathered together and a lightning bolt as thick as an adult's arm struck fiercely at Yunchujo. Yunchujo looked at the huge lightning bolt coming at her and 3 words flashed across her mind: "I've played too big." Wu Yun in the sky saw the deep pit that was emitting black smoke on the ground and floated away in satisfaction. Done. The 2 scourges were finally eliminated. Chapter 124. The miserable Yun Chujo. The other 6 members of the Qingyun team climbed for a while. When they saw that Yunchujo did not follow them and heard the deafening thunder, they immediately panicked and rushed back to look for Yunchujo. Coincidentally, they met Bai Maoyu and the others who were climbing up. Yunchuzi and the others were very surprised to see Yunchushan and the others. She did not expect them to pass 3 rounds of the test. She pretended to be pleasantly surprised. "Chuzi, that's great. You guys passed the first 3 rounds of the test too. Why didn't you climb up but went down instead?" "Third sister, did you see little Jio on the way here?" Yunchuzi quickly asked Yunchushan. "No." "Why? Did little Jio disappear?" Yunchushan showed a worried expression, but she was actually very happy in her heart. She deserved it. It would be better if Yunchujo was dead. Yunchuzi had no time to care about Yunchu's question. He acknowledged and brought Yunchu and the others down the mountain. Yunchushan shouted from behind, "Hey! If you go down, there's a high possibility that you won't be able to enter the outer sect. Why don't you go look for little Jio after you complete the test? The treatment in the outer sect is 100 times better than that of a handyman." Yunchuzi and the others stopped in their tracks. Yunchuzi turned around and gave Yunchushan a deep look. "In our opinion, little Jio's safety is more important than anything else." Yunchu's face stiffened and said embarrassedly, "If you don't know how to appreciate a good person's kindness, then do as you please." Yunchuzi took a few steps forward and said to Qing Si, "Let's go look for little Jio. You continue to climb up." Qing Si was stunned. Qing Si, am not the kind of person who doesn't have a sense of loyalty. At worst, I'll just become a servant. Fourth brother, stop wasting time. It's more important to look for little Jio. Seeing Qing Si's resolute attitude, Yunchuzi did not say anything more. In his heart, he had a trace of approval for this little sister who came later. Yunchuzi and the others arrived at the place where Yunchujo was resting and found Yunchuji's footprints. They searched along the footprints and finally found the deep pit that was still emitting billowing black smoke. Little Joe's footprints disappeared when they came here. Could it be, could it be? Yunchuzi couldn't continue. He didn't dare to say or think about the tragedy that might happen. Little Joe. Little Joe. Where are you? Yunchu cried out loudly with her crying voice. Yunchuki and the others also shouted at the top of their lungs. They really didn't want to believe the fact that little Joe had been struck by lightning. They could only shout with a glimmer of hope. Cough. 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 Yunchuji's weak voice came from the pit. Everyone quickly gathered around the pit. Little Joe, are you okay? Cough. 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 I'm fine, it's just that the smoke is too strong, and I've changed into a shiny new hairstyle. Hurry up and get a rope to hang down and pull me up. Rope? Yunchu and the others looked at each other. There was no rope on them either. Fortunately, Ching Si was quick-witted. She saw that there were vines next to her, so she cut a few vines and tied them together, hanging down the deep pit. Everyone exerted their strength together, and without much effort, they pulled a black thing up. At this moment, Yunchujo was in a terrible state. Her body was covered in scorched earth. Other than a pair of eyes that were as red as a rabbit's, no one could see her facial features. By the way, the most shiny thing was the shiny bald head. There was a drooping black crow on the bald head. Its green bean-like eyes were also filled with tears from the smoke. When everyone saw Yunchuji's miserable state, they felt like laughing out loud. Yunchulu could not help but laugh out loud. Yunchujo glared at him. Sixth brother, take off your coat and give it to me. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.